God damn,
back.
we got to get better at these fucking intros.
We will. You'd think after 49 times of doing it, we'd be pretty good, but I think we keep getting worse.
Hey, look, the episode number of the Nick and Tub podcast. Welcome back, everybody.
Episode 49, and we have a returning guest, Devin Musil.
He is a police officer, and he was on episode 27.
Mm-hmm. And if you listen to that episode, it's not a necessity for this one.
Country loving ass kicking police officer. Sorry,
Yeah,
it was
no.
such a lame fucking introduction that I gave him. Like, he's a police officer.
Oh no, yeah,
And
he's a badass, and he. You don't have to listen to the first episode to enjoy this one. It does build off that one though.
yeah, if you want to get to know him from the beginnings and like why he started, that was 27.
27,
Yeah.
and but yeah, so pick right up. We talk about several different things. A lot of them are, again, more misconceptions that people have about, in general, just the public has about police
About
officers and their work.
and their rules and laws
Yeah.
and restrictions and all the things that they can and can't do.
Mm-hmm. We talk. We hit a few current-ish events that have happened. We talked about the local incident out here in Lancaster where the officer faked a shooting. They pretended like they got shot
Yep.
and created an entire fiasco where SWAT came out and
It was
a
nuts.
huge ordeal happened. We touch
Yeah.
on that. We touch on the Mexican cartel attack on
Yeah, we
American
do.
citizens.
Holy fuck, we covered a lot because I'm just going off of like
And that was like last
the
week.
handful of stories that were given
Yeah.
at the end.
Mhm.
Because, you know, the more
more recent
recent
it
is
is.
more fresh. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talk about that event and we get into, we touch a little bit on the like differences between Hollywood's portrayal of police officers and their work
yeah.
in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good one. It's, again, just like the last time, super insightful. And if you have these ideas of how you think police officers work, but you don't know any of them personally, this will shift your perspective a lot.
Also, just so you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure we fucking say it's a really good one to every single episode, and that is because we
Yeah.
love ourselves.
Here's
We're
our-
cocky, and we have the
Here's-
best podcast.
Here's our self-jerking off stamp of approval that episode 49 is a good one.
You want to do the whole intro thing again? You did really well last time. I was very
I'll
proud of
pass
you.
it on to you and we'll continue.
Okay, so without further ado, help us welcome back our guest, Devin Musil, as we start the episode now.
Yes!
Welcome to the Nick and Tub
Podcast. That was good. Again, I'm always fucking stoked on it.
I want that fucking dumb podcast. I like it. It's fucking good shit.
That was so good. Dude, this is the best fucking thing we've ever done. That is all.
We had a buddy just recently on.
Literally
the
the
episode
last
came
episode.
out today. And
Oh shit, today is Monday.
yeah,
Oh, I gotta post.
you got to post.
I'm so not. I have to get used to that.
Yeah.
Rookie.
We're
Wow.
but he is a good friend of ours and he fucks around all the time with he's just an asshole. And so we clapped, and the very beginning of the podcast starts with like it's me, then Caleb, then Manny, and then
super late.
yeah,
Just
super
classic.
fucking awful. Okay,
Fantastic.
so I don't want to deep dive into anything like right away. You guys were talking about country. I don't know if you wanted to keep talking about country.
Oh, it's just because
I'm
Luke
just gonna
Combs is the fucking shit.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
he
sit
is.
here and stare the whole time if you do.
Yeah, Joel tweeted the other day. He's like Luke Combs plus any song about beer is an automatic slapper.
Yeah. No, it literally is. Went and saw him live, and it was fantastic. Like I said, it was the second time that I've seen him live, and it was super cool. But yeah, we threw the plans together last minute. I like knew I wanted to go, and then out of nowhere, I like hit up. I was just gonna go by myself. I have like the self-confidence level where
Yeah,
I'm like,
man.
yeah, I'm not gonna not go see him live just because I
Exactly.
can't
Yeah.
go with somebody. So I was like, I'm just gonna go by myself. But I hit up a group of people, and we ended up going. It was a great time.
Have you ever
So-
gone to a concert by yourself?
Not to a concert, I don't think. I
Or
don't think it's
show.
happened, but I would not put it past me
It's a
at all.
fucking blast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be.
When you don't literally have to think about anybody else,
Yeah.
you just do your own fucking thing. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to like check in with anybody or anything like that.
Yeah.
Done like 2 or 3, but
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's,
it's a fucking blast every
I've
time.
never done a concert, but I've done I've done road trips.
Yeah.
And a Hawaii trip, a 4-day Hawaii trip.
Okay,
You went to Hawaii?
Actually, I want to dive into that because that shit was wild. You're
That
like,
was
hey, should
legit.
I go to Hawaii?
That was like
You went by yourself?
by myself. to
That's
Hawaii.
so
And
dope.
I
it wasn't-
literally made the plans at like 8 or 9 p.m. the night before.
Whoa!
Yeah, I was like, I better see you on the beach with a beer in your hand. And he sent me a picture of
Yeah.
him on the beach with a beer in his
Instantly.
hand.
That was like the only thing I did the entire time. I was like, I went, because I like to free dive too. So I went and I did free diving. I did the road to Hana, which I've already done. I just like wanted to see some other different
What
things.
is that?
So on Maui, you guys ever been to Hawaii?
I've been to
not.
Maui
Okay.
when I was a kid.
So Hawaii's beautiful. It's like one of my favorite places. It's like, I feel kind of weird, actually, not to like flex, but I've been there like so much like recently that I need to like start going to other places because I feel like because I collect sand and dirt from like places that I've been to,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to like broaden that. And I feel like I
okay.
can't just keep on going to
Yeah.
Hawaii.
And you
But
have like
I
a whole
love it
cabinet
so
of just
much.
Hawaii sand.
Yeah, I love Hawaii so much. It's so beautiful out there. So on Maui, there's this thing called the Road to Hana. It's like this super windy mountain road, and it's like a 7 or 8 hour round trip if you like go and like actually stop at each thing. And there's just a
Driving or walking?
driving.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to take like a little car. I had a Mini Cooper, which was
A Mini
awesome.
Cooper?
Yeah,
That's
which
dope.
was so fun and had
That probably took the turn so
Oh, it
well.
was so nice. I was hauling ass, dude. It was so much
like a
fun.
go-kart.
Yeah, it literally was like a go-kart with a little turbo, which was super cool.
That was before you had that fucking ginormous machine
The
outside,
Dynamis
right?
truck. Yeah. Well, I mean, I rented the
say
the
Cooper out there.
Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying, but because
Big difference from
big
the,
fucking difference.
Yeah, from the big truck to a Mini Cooper. But, so you go and you just stop on all the attractions. There's like waterfalls. There's these super cool beaches. There's this one beach and it's straight. It's like black rocks. All of it.
Oh,
it's
like a
all
black sand
It's
beach?
a black sand beach. So went there. So I collected sand from there, and then there's another place that I just went to. It's like apparently like a secret, like only the locals know about it or whatever. One of my friends who went to school there told me about it, and it's a red sand beach, and that was beautiful. That was like one of the most
cool.
beautiful things I've ever seen, because the contrast of like the
blue
crystal
water.
clear blue water on the red sand, it was just unreal. So I jumped in there and swam around in this little pool, and it was crazy too because there's like this volcanic rock that like shields this bay. So like it's like super rough seas and all these, all the waves are hitting it, and then it's like pretty calm and like that.
So it's like a little hidden cove.
Yeah, it was super cool. So I had a blast, and then literally I had like 4 or 5 days off from work naturally. Like it just occurred because we're on a rotating schedule. So every once in a while that lines up, and I haven't had that in forever. And usually I'm taking time off, but this one I was like, hey dude, I got 5 days off. Like I got to do something.
Yeah,
like, I'm not just going to stay here, So my mom's a flight attendant, and so I could fly pretty much anywhere for decently cheap to free.
That is
It
awesome.
is fantastic.
No wonder
It's
you've
like
been
the
to Hawaii so much. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
you can just cop a ticket.
All I got to do is pay for food and food, rental car, and lodging, which is expensive still, but
easier to pay for when
cuts it
you
in half.
when you don't have that.
So it was super cool. So I was just like, my mom threw out the idea, why not go out to Maui, which is my favorite island, and I love it out there. We've been out there several times. So I just did it. I was like, I think I'm just going to do it. We literally bought the ticket or like set up the ticket the night before at like 9 p.m. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I threw together a bag with like my free diving gear, a couple changes of clothes, and like whatever.
Yeah.
Drove to LAX in the morning, and I didn't know if I'd make it on the flight, and I ended up making it on the flight. And then I bought the Airbnb and the rental car literally as the plane was taking off.
That's
So,
fucking
Hawaii.
cool, dude.
Oh,
Got there, dude. It was like a
that's so
beachfront.
cool.
It was a beachfront condo.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that much compared to like other places out there. So I had a beachfront condo by myself. Just went to the store, got like steaks and fucking like a
Oh my
a
God.
30 pack of Kona Big Wave.
Yeah.
That's what I did the entire weekend, man.
It's a damn good weekend.
You're living
it
like a
was so
king.
cool. Yeah. Literally, I just lived like a king. I just did what I want when I wanted to do it. I was like, I don't feel like doing anything today. I literally just sat by the beach, drank beer, and and hung out. Man.
When you got home,
was awesome.
Was that when, because you had this like large, I don't even know, span of time where you were just going on all these different vacations.
Yeah.
Was that
sick?
Like
I think that was a part of that. That was that was in that little spurt. Yeah. And I was just like,
I think Mexico, it was like a 2-week fucking thing that you were just gone, right? Or no?
Yeah. Well, it was like for a month this summer. I just like, I took off a week, and then there was some, I like took off a week, and then there was a time when some people needed some shift swapped off, and I already had like 3 or 4 days lined up. So I just took off the end of those 2. So I ended up having like a week, and I went to Havasu. I almost did a road trip up to Wyoming on that same week too. I love Wyoming. And I really wanted to go up for a rodeo that was up there. And I really wish I did it, but it would have been a solo road trip. I should have just done it. I was planning on flying, but that didn't work out. So I was like, dude, I should have just gone, it's just okay. 13-hour drive from Havasu. That sucks, but like,
I just did a 12-hour drive to Idaho. If you can make it fun.
It sucked, but on the Camaro, just, possibly go above the speed limit a little bit. Just,
may or may not.
Just, set the cruise to 95 and just lean the seat back. No,
dude,
just kidding. For legal reasons, that's a joke. But I should have done it, but I didn't. I kind of wussed out on that. But then we went to Mexico too on a 7-day cruise, which was a good time.
Yeah.
Man, you are living right now.
Yeah. No, it was good. Well, because I was on patrol training for like, I've just been like academy thing, custody training and patrol training. And during those time periods, you really can't take vacation. And then I finally got off, and it was summer, and I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to,
yeah, man.
I'm going to
22's been good.
Yeah.
Huh?
Do some vacationing. Yeah. It's been good, man.
Yeah.
Living my best life.
You gotta tell Nick, or what were you gonna bring up?
No, it's gonna go off topic, so go ahead.
You gotta tell Nick real quick about what we were talking about when we were eating earlier, about you with like clearing like your house, like getting in practice.
Yeah. So I have night vision goggles that I got like a little while ago, and they're super cool and
like high grade actual night vision goggles.
Legit, like legit, like
Step Brothers turn on the lights and blind yourself.
Could have bought a car with the amount I put down on
shit.
night vision. A shitty car, but still
a car nonetheless. Anyways,
so I use them for work. Obviously, that's the main reason I have them. But I also mess around with them and I train with them. When I'm out with my buddies and we're shooting or whatever. So the last night I was telling him, because when the stars are really bright and you have a full moon, it's like the best time to do it because it amplifies natural light, ambient light. So last night I pretty much got home and it was a full moon and it was pretty bright out. So I was like, I'm just gonna practice sweeping my house with my rifle and my full gear and everything. So I like put on my full gear with my night vision and grab my rifle and just practice going through my house and searching it
like Call of Duty style.
Call of Duty style. It's pretty fun. Because we do that type of stuff all the time at work. But it's always like it's legit. Yeah. It's like, okay, we're actually looking for somebody right now.
Yeah.
So it's nice to like kind of calm down and like actually practice it. Which I think a lot of people should do more, and I should do more.
This is the house that you live with people in, correct?
No, I live by myself right now. Were you last time?
Huh? Were you last time?
No, last time I was still with my family.
Yeah. You bought a house?
I didn't buy one. I'm renting out like a guest house right now on a horse property, which is awesome because I was living like in the city, and me, it doesn't really add up that well. Like I don't really mix that well with city life.
You ain't city folk.
No, I'm not city folk. So I ended up I'm renting a guest house right now out in the middle of nowhere, and it's pretty nice. But my family, like me moving out actually kind of sparked my family to start looking into places kind of out in the country because they miss it too. So basically they ended up we're closing escrow right now on a newer place.
Good for them.
So I'm actually probably going to move back in with them and just rent out.
Just go ahead and practice sweeping a room with them anyway.
Yeah.
Just so they can be like, what the fuck
so
are
you guys are
doing?
going to be the hostages.
Yeah.
Grandma, you're going to be the villain.
Yeah. So it'll be cool. I'll be back on horse property, and I can have a horse and go from there. So.
Yeah. And I know it's a calm sense because you're in your house alone and whatnot, but just sweeping and whatnot and doing that whole ordeal and being in full gear, do you still get the nerves knowing like this is eventually going to be something I may have to do one day?
No, because
it's just that.
See, I'm a weirdo, man. I love that shit. Like I literally enjoy that. Like when we get a hot call, when we get a, it's scary. It's scary and it's like an adrenaline rush. But like we get, the authority to go into a house, like a hot pursuit or like somebody's life's in danger. Yeah. And we have the opportunity to go in and do that. And, it's high risk. So we put on gear and go inside. Yeah. That's legit, man. That's the funnest thing you'll do.
Just the fucking adrenaline period.
Yeah, exactly. It's scary. So that's why I go through and I train with it. That's why sometimes at work too, we'll go and find vacant houses that we know nobody's in. Yeah. And then we'll clear them, make sure there's nobody inside there, and then we'll practice going through and do building entry and building searches and stuff, which is important because at any time, like literally, when day one of me hitting the streets, like you can go and you can get that hot call. Yeah. You can get, hey, this dude just beat the hell out of his wife. He has a gun and there's a kid inside. And he ran inside the house. Yeah. And I'm the first one on scene. And it's like, all right, cool.
It's like, hey, crazy.
Lock it down. Yeah. Let's get some more people. And we're gonna break that door down and go save that kid. Yeah.
The adrenaline that you were talking about that you enjoy when the fires, well, I mean, they're still kind of happening. Yeah. But when they got close, like within LA to like the 14, that whole area, buddy of mine, his brother was or is part of the wild. What is it? The wild...
Wildland Fire.
Yes, Wildland Fire. Yeah. And that those guys actually, not that they're hoping that happens by any means, but when it does, they get excited because they're like, this is what we signed up for.
That's what we signed up for. That's why I said, like, I tell my mom all these stories, man. She's like, you're such a weirdo. Like who gets a hard on? Like, getting like hearing about, these crazy calls that you get to go and put your life on the line. And it's like, yeah, it's scary. And I never take away from the seriousness of it at all. And I don't want to put that out. No. And that's why I train so much.
Everybody listening understands. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's super important. And that's why I train so much. But at the same time, that's why I signed up to do this.
Yeah. Like, it's like you get that call.
I signed to boot doors down, drive fast cars and catch bad guys.
You get the call in like 3 seconds and you're just like, I get 3 seconds. Just
just sit in. And, and you gotta, and obviously they are very serious things. So it's like, you got to sit there and plan about it and, formulate a plan. Cause we aren't just going to go in just guns blazing.
knock, motherfuckers.
Yeah, kick the door down and just start sending around. It doesn't work like that. Obviously we have rules and we want to go home. Yeah. And all of us want to go home. Of course. And, we'll have a team of, five people make entry and each, you got one person assigned as a less lethal option. So taser or, we have this weapon that's really cool. It's 40 millimeter. It's basically a grenade launcher,
shit.
Yeah. Well, but it doesn't shoot grenades.
Yeah. It's like bean bags or whatever.
I was going to say sandbags.
No, it's a foam. It shoots like a foam bullet.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
And it's awesome. It's the coolest thing, man. It's literally a grenade launcher. It's literally a 40 millimeter grenade launcher, but it shoots instead of like in Call of Duty, like you see like the M203 grenade launcher. Yeah, it's like similar to that. The round looks the same, but instead of having an explosive end, it's foam. It's like high density foam.
But that'll put someone on their ass.
Oh no, it's like a fist hitting you at 500 feet per second. It's awesome. It's the coolest thing ever.
Have you been hit by it?
No.
Okay. No. Has anybody that you?
No, nobody that I've known. I've seen videos of it, and it's rough.
Yeah,
there's like that could break bones.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it cripples you. It's not
going to kill him.
Like the stuff that I've seen.
It's not going to kill him. So, but it'll put them down.
It'll crack some
ribs.
When
I say cripple, I don't mean like legitimately cripple, depending on where you hit, but like you get hit and these people just drop.
Down. Like you're incapacitated, and that's what's
it's like a fist at 500
literally,
feet a second.
That's what I describe it to people as. That's what it looks like too. That thing's awesome. So I love that thing, and you can take that into buildings too, and so that's generally what we'll do is we'll take that into take that into a building, or the taser, because you can use those at closer range. And then, you know, you have like somebody with a rifle and then 2 people with handguns as lethal options leading that. And sometimes we'll take a shield in too. So we do it very smart, and we have a good tactical plan. We have, of course, people that are designated. Hey, if he surrenders, you're going to go hands on. You're going to go and grab him, handcuff him, and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's all very methodical. Yeah. The way we do things.
Does it bother you a little bit when you're watching like
live PD? Are you going there?
No. No. When you're watching
yes.
short answer, yes. No, I mean like when you're watching like Hollywood films and TV shows, and like you have like law enforcement like sweeping a house, and then like the main character is like hiding under the dining room table, and they're like sweeping the house, and they don't see him, and he like sneaks out. I'm like, oh, like stupid. They totally like would have not checked under the table or under the bed or something like that.
Movies are rough, man. Like strictly like cop movies, like specifically about cop stuff, generally do pretty good. Like End of Watch is very accurate on everything that they do for the most part. But there's like, especially older movies, it's so
cringy.
Stupid. Yeah, it's really cringy. And especially being like, I work with firearms a lot. I handle firearms. That's like a passion of mine. I shoot a lot, blah, 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 all that stuff. It's really really irritating seeing people like clear houses with their finger on the trigger.
Oh, with bad trigger discipline.
With bad trigger discipline.
Yeah,
it's like super irritating. Every movie does that.
Just any moment I can fire this round into your head.
And they like put the gun up next to them, like James Bond style, when they're going in corners. And it's stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So no, none of that. Yeah, that does irritate me, but I just try and step back and like, okay, it's a movie, relax.
One of the things that you had mentioned last time, and it was the tangent that I was going to go on, was the whole speeding thing. Where like obviously, if someone's being reckless, you're going to pull them over. But you said like speeding isn't the biggest fucking concern to you.
Yeah. So
but the reason I bring it up mostly is just because the other night speeding and it happens, occasionally. And was on the freeway and just fucking saw this guy flying up, and I was like, fuck this guy. He's just doing whatever he wants to do. And he's going probably 90 and then pulls it back and gets behind me. And I'm like, that's not a cop. Like he's got blue, like it looked like blue LEDs on a Charger. And I was like, yeah, fuck him. And then he pulls to the other lane and then just takes off, and it's a fucking cop. And I was like, you must not care, or like, because in the situation like that, when they are fucking flying with no lights on, and then they pull up behind you, and like, what can you even say anything to that as a citizen? Like if they're flying faster than you, but then pull you over for speeding.
Well, so here's the thing. We're allowed to obviously break vehicle code laws to catch up to somebody in the scope of our duty. Okay, so there's been several times where I've done that. Like let's say somebody California rolls a stop. And I want to stop that car. I can California roll a stop. Technically, like legally, we're supposed to put our lights and sirens on, but a lot of times, like, I'll just go if it's clear, I'll flip my lights on real quick and go through just to make sure that I can stop him,
follow code.
Yeah, exactly. So when people are speeding or I'm trying to catch up to them or whatever, I'll go fast because you have to catch them. You have to go faster than they're going to catch up to them.
Exactly.
So like, it's sometimes cops are hypocritical. I'm not gonna speak for CHP. Like I said, I'm not really a huge speeding ticket guy. I don't think I've ever given one, maybe once. Because the guy was a douche. But
remember, kids, don't be a douche.
Be nice to police officers. Trust me. Like that's one thing I'm just gonna throw out there. You can 100% talk yourself into a ticket. It happens it's happened to me several times, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, you just want to continue arguing and saying all that stuff. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, just give me your license.
Sign this.
Yeah, sign here.
I mean, it turned into a question as I was thinking about it, but it was more so like the cop that did get behind me. I was like, oh, he just doesn't give a shit. He's on the same thought as me. Is
like, I guess what you're getting at is like, how can you tell whether they're going fast because they need to go fast for like a vehicle code reason, or if they're just going fast because they know that they can go fast?
Yeah,
you can't. You really can't. Like I said. I don't want to say anything that'll get me in trouble. But when I'm driving in a black and white, I do drive differently than I am in a vehicle where I can pull over and get a ticket from CHP.
Right.
even though most of the time, like they're cool with me, but when I'm driving a black and white vehicle, it's a little bit different.
I don't know if
so
you ever
it's a little bit hypocritical. I'm not gonna do that. Some cops will still be hypocritical and they'll speed and give people speeding tickets. I know I speed, so that's why I don't give people speeding tickets. That's why it's not a big thing. I'm like, I try not. Yeah, well, I try not to be a douche with things that I do, minor things like that. I'm not perfect.
It's not a power trip for you.
Yeah, it's not a power trip for me.
Did you ever see that video of it was some fucking CHP officer that pulled over another CHP officer or a cop that was going like 130, and she was trying to catch up to him for like 20 minutes or something, and finally pulled him over. And he was confused, like, I'm in a black and white, like, why are you pulling me over? And then she like straight up fucking arrested him too.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that. No.
That's a thing. Like they can actually do that.
Cop on cop crime.
I have never seen that, and if you do that, like, you're a douche. But
you're a douche. But
obviously, cops aren't perfect.
Yeah,
okay,
no, of
cops
course
are
not.
not perfect
We're
at
still
all.
human beings.
We're human beings. Okay, we do stupid stuff, and there are some guys on the force. No one that I've really known or interacted with.
Yeah.
But there are some people that do criminal actions at behind the badge,
Of course.
and those people don't deserve to be police officers. And so I'm not saying that like arresting a cop ever is like never right, but if you want to dive into it,
I was just mostly curious.
The guy that faked that shooting.
Oh, yes.
That's
a
not
huge
cool.
topic.
Yeah, that's a huge topic. I know we were going to talk about that for sure. I was going to lead into it with Mexico because I actually almost flew home from Mexico because I was
because of that whole situation.
Mexico when that happened.
Yeah.
You were in Mexico? That's right.
In Mexico.
That's
I was
right.
in like Mazatlan or something like that, and and I heard word of that, and it's a serious thing. I know people that responded up there and that helped out with that. And just what that guy obviously did wasn't right. He got fired pretty much instantly as soon as they figured out what was up, like within days of the incident, once it all came out. But I don't know if
for people that don't know, like how would you explain that whole situation?
Basically, the story that I heard, and this is just the story that I heard. I obviously haven't spoke to those involved. But it's basically I don't really know why he did it, but what he did was he like cut a hole in his uniform shirt and then got on the radio and screamed out that he had been shot.
Yeah.
By a sniper over the apartment. And obviously we take that super seriously.
Of course.
If one of my partners says that they got shot, they got shot. I'm not going to, like, no questions asked. Like that's the trust that we have. That's the bond that we have. So everyone responded and handled business, locked down everything, got him out, rolled him to the hospital, I guess. And then they went through and I heard they had a SWAT team like hit boots on the ground in like 20 minutes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially up because it happened in Lancaster. It's so far away from where the SWAT team's headquarters is.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's locked it down, cleared the entire apartment, and found nothing. Found no evidence of anything, and it was just like kind of weird.
When did he? I think it went on for what, like 6 or 8 hours before he said it was him that just fucking faked the entire thing.
It was a lot longer than that. It was it was like several days before it came out.
How long was the whole like sweeping of the area happening? Because I know that they were checking all different apartment complexes. There was, isn't there like I think it's a mental institution that's like near the station itself.
Yeah, I'm
and I think they swept that out too, and it was just like, fuck, dude, this whole thing for this guy to just be a piece of shit.
Yeah, no, for sure, that's ridiculous, and it's obviously for those at the station, it's a black eye to them, and for those on this job and this and the department that that guy works for, it's just bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad for all those involved, all those that wear the same uniform as him. And it's just not right. And I don't know why he did that. I don't know why he would do that to his partners. And
so
and all that stuff.
what happens after that to somebody that fucking fakes all that? Like,
yeah,
what
so
happened
he's
to that
so
dude?
he's being so we got fired instantly,
Yeah.
and I know at the very least, so I don't know what they're doing if they're pressing charges on them. I hope they press charges on him. That pissed me off big time. You know, so that's like one of the examples where I'm talking about where this is one of the few examples where I'm like, oh, a cop should be charges should be filed on him because that was fucked up.
Because it affects all cops everywhere.
Yeah, because it affects cops everywhere. It affected everyone at the station that came in on their day off, that came in, you know, to do all this stuff and to help out with this, because that's a serious thing.
Yeah,
like I couldn't even imagine if, you know, hearing about one of my buddies got shot and like what I would do, you know. You just don't even think about it. You just show up, and everyone's just going to show up, and they're ready to work and ready to help out, and you know, it's just not right. It's not right to do to the community, to those people that got taken out of their homes and got guns pointed at them and all this stuff. You know, to all the officers that or deputies that showed up and helped out. It's not right for the city. It's not right for the department. It's not right for the profession. So I hope he gets charges filed against him.
Do you have any like idea any updates on that whole situation?
No, I have no clue as far as that goes.
Right. I mean, you're so far detached from it at some point. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do know. I heard they're trying to gather a money amount to charge him for restitution for all the people that worked that day.
Yeah.
All the businesses around that had shut down or that had to do whatever, all the resources that tied in, how much money that cost, he's gonna front
the guy's fucked.
That. Yeah, it's like gonna be like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, you call SWAT out.
Yeah.
That alone.
You don't. Yeah. You don't do that.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, and it's just bad.
It's a shitty situation,
and it's just a tattoo on
that whole department,
that station, the department. And it's just rough, you know.
And I also think it's just bad timing with like the entire atmosphere around police officers in general.
Of course,
and then you have like that thrown on top of the shit pile.
Yeah,
and it's
of course, and especially with Lancaster Station, which, you know, obviously was involved.
Yeah.
You know, especially with the passing of Sergeant Steve Owen like 2 years ago, it's just ridiculous how somebody would
fake something
not joke
like that
about that, but, you know, like fake that.
Yeah,
like that's ridiculous.
That was
like,
a whole
it's such a sensitive
thing.
Subject up there, and it's just, you know, it's rough.
Do you know if that officer in that department, if they were like relatively new?
Because
I can't imagine that was like a veteran doing.
He was, like what I heard is that he was generally new on the department, and he had come out to work patrol, and it wasn't really working out for him. And so,
obviously,
yeah. So he,
do you know how old he was?
He was 21. That's what I heard.
Oh Jesus,
fucking idiot, man! Like,
you know, I mean, like, and that's another thing, like, because I'm a young officer, and it's like now people are looking down on that, like, oh, young people shouldn't be out on the streets. Young people shouldn't be patrol officers, and I'm like, okay, well, not all of us are fucking dumbasses.
Yeah, that's the
know?
thing. You
like,
have to be able to pick out the bad seeds and not let it make the whole thing look bad.
I don't know how that bad seed sifted through so much. I don't know, man. That's a big confusing thing, and it really irritated me when it came out, just because of how it makes this profession look. But he is gonna pay for what he did. Not like he's gonna pay. He's for sure, like, legitimately, literally gonna pay for all the resources that were tied up, and then he's probably gonna get charges filed against them. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
it's so crazy.
I know that the DA is looking into doing that.
To think that somebody is not only that young and thinking like, how can I throw my life away? But you didn't put any more thought into that whole situation. You cut your sleeve and you started screaming about a sniper.
Yeah.
What the
That's
fuck
it.
did you think was going to happen? Like,
That's
everyone's just
what-
going to go, oh, yeah. Like, you have to have something wrong in your fucking head.
As soon as you get to medical services and they do any examination
Yeah,
on you,
they were like, "Nah, that's bullshit." Yeah, apparently,
like, this looks like a knife.
Yeah.
It's a knife cut. Come
apparently,
on now.
as soon as like the medical people saw it, they were like, "No."
I can imagine. At least commit and shoot your own.
And imagine,
arm
like,
or
what-
some
Oh
shit.
my God.
Like, the first responders at that scene, imagine what they had to think when they went, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah,
And this is about to turn into this whole fucking thing
Like
for
controversy.
days.
yeah,
The thought that they have to deal with at that moment
Like
of
they're
like,
they're the bearer of the news that like,
Yeah.
hey, this
hey, by the way, he's fucking around. Like,
yeah.
dude,
No, it's ridiculous.
So
And,
fucked up.
You know, obviously, dude, the whole. I know, like they had so many resources up there that day too. I just heard of all these special teams going up there. You know, special detectives. Their homicide bureau went up because they investigate anything like that. You know, it was a mess. Everyone was up there.
Fucking nuts.
You know, everyone was up there in Lancaster when that happened.
Yeah.
And, all for nothing. It's a big old training
fucking
exercise.
stupid.
Crazy. So that's my opinions on that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't. It's stupid. I hope they press charges on him because that guy was an idiot and doesn't deserve to wear the badge.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I really hope, and I think like relatively well-minded people won't let that individual represent that department as a whole, or cops as a whole in general. But at the same time, man, like there's so many people that I encounter throughout life where I think this person has a good head on their shoulders, and then you hear their like opinion about like law enforcement, and you're like, Jesus Christ, you're so fucking far off of what's reality.
It is.
And so like that shit, although if someone looks at it realistically, is a bad seed.
Yeah.
There are people who are going to use that as ammunition.
Of course. And it always is. That's what we
expected.
all know when that came out. It was like, man, that sucks because we're gonna be eating, we're gonna be eating this one for a while. You know, just the profession as a whole.
Yeah,
and it's just this is what cops do. Cops wanted to illegally search this building. They wanted to do it's a power trip. Blah blah. It's like, no, we legit.
That's a waste
they
of
legitimately
time, money.
thought that something had happened, and I don't know. It's rough. It for sure is rough. It's a common thought process though now. Is that cops are bad? Cops are they're
Liars.
shit people. They're liars. Before this even, it's a common misconception, obviously. And you're saying you think somebody has a level head on their shoulders, and then they think like that. I try not to let it offend me. I think it's stupid, and it's like, man, that sucks. But it's just so common now. It's sad. It's just so common. I know that I'm hated. I know that people don't like what I do, and they, if they actually figured out what I did, they'd look down on it.
It's really funny.
It's almost because it's just trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just what's
It
in
is.
style.
It gets
It's
a bunch
like-
of
it's like
retweets
everyone
on Twitter.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Cops are bad.
No one likes
pigs.
Retweet.
No one likes Nickelback because it's just
Yeah.
popular to not like Nickelback.
Not that bad.
No, definitely not.
Not that bad. Do I make
If you
fun-
weren't hated
Yeah.
enough already,
Yeah, exactly. I was like, dude, I'm hated already. I'll be honest about it.
You're like, step further. Nicolas Cage makes good movies. We're like, we're
we gotta go.
We're gonna cut the episode.
There's only 2 good Nicolas Cage movies: National Treasure and National Treasure 2. That's it. Those only 2.
The fact that that's even stated.
I actually was talking to one of my buddies who's like a movie geek, Sean, who's been on before. Yeah, I was talking to Sean, and he said that there are actually a couple really good Nicolas Cage movies, but nobody knows about them because they're Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like well known. Nicolas Cage and Nickelback are just well known. It's like popularly bad.
Hated.
Yeah, infamy.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of bad.
I think it all really started going downhill, and this is me coming from a very limited movie perspective. But once fucking Marvel was like, you know who would make a good Ghost Rider? Nicolas Cage.
Jesus Christ. I mean, honestly, his acting is just
so stupid.
Dude, like you're really trying to bring like the fiery skull demon of hell, and you think Nicolas Cage is the face to fit that role?
Stupid.
Like,
I didn't even know.
please.
That's bad nerd of me. I didn't even know that was a Marvel movie.
Dude, yeah.
Wow.
That's how
DC could hold that against them so hard.
Well, it's because
even though DC has a bunch of terrible movies, they'd be like, well,
Yeah.
they're not all perfect.
Yeah. I think it was
Ghost
before
Rider.
I think it was before Iron Man. So it was before
yeah.
the MCU itself kicked off with
okay.
like the Avengers and everything.
Yeah.
It was when they were trying to still make movies hit, like when Fantastic Four was a thing.
Oh, I forgot
Ghost
about
Rider.
that.
Yeah.
Daredevil
And
way back
Daredevil,
when.
Oh my
dude,
gosh.
Elektra, all that shit.
Jesus.
Like this is what Marvel did is they just like brain wiped everyone of all the
Yeah,
previous
dude,
bad
they
movies.
did. They literally did.
And
It was
they were
like,
like,
it's
we'll
like
keep
Men in Black with the thing. It was like,
Look, it's Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. I legit thought Iron Man was the first one, and Iron
Dude,
Man is
yeah.
so good.
And you know what's funny is I think Hulk was before Iron Man,
Yeah.
and Hulk was
Wait.
the one movie
no,
they kept.
Hulk was after.
Was it after?
Hulk was
Okay.
after.
They're saying,
Because
was
at
it?
the end of the amazing,
That's right.
the Incredible Hulk,
Robert
Tony
Downey
Stark,
Jr.
shows up. He's like, "Hey,
yeah.
we're putting together a team," and I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Avengers!"
And then Mark Ruffalo comes in as Hulk, and you're like, "Where's the other
Where's
guy?"
the other guy? It's all right though.
Well, when
No,
was
they did.
that
They did
movie, actually?
relatively a good job of wiping everyone's memory.
No. Wait. That's the one with Edward Norton? No, it's not.
I forget who played it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, this is Eric Bant. They had a 2003 Hulk?
No, it would have been later on.
No, there's one in 2003 that came out. But
Is
it's
that
not the Edward Norton one. 2000. Yeah, you're right.
like if you
what was
if,
it like 2000?
2008.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
like
It
if
was
you
that
remember one of the Fantastic Four movies, do you remember who played Human Torch?
one. No,
Chris Evans, Captain America.
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
I
did
didn't know
a
that.
good job of wiping everyone's
Dude,
memory.
they're
They're able
It's
to
a
use their own
conspiracy,
actors.
dude. It's a conspiracy. That's
What is
crazy.
it? The Nelson Mandela effect.
Yeah. The fucking whole thing where it's like Bearstein Bears or Bearstein Bears.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you
Oh yeah. Who retweeted? Was it you that retweeted that?
I think we've talked about
Yeah,
it, retweeted
was crazy.
it, everything.
That-
dude.
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, I think that's just my mind.
There's
playing
a
with
whole
me,
thing
but
like
that's kinda
Looney-
weird.
it's like Chick-fil-A having like the K in it, and
How-
everyone thinks it was just CHIC.
I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Fuck. Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
TUNES and then TOONS. There's a switch
Oh,
up.
yeah.
People remember it differently.
That's so weird.
It's so weird. There's so many of them too.
Yeah, I know. I remember like reading through all those. I was like,
Yeah, you
I
can
was
go
like,
back.
I'm too many beers in to like really think about this right now.
Yeah, like you can go back and you can go watch Captain America look into the camera and be like, "Flame on." You're like,
Yeah,
"What's
I don't remember
happening?"
that.
They keep fucking up those movies too.
Yeah.
They're eventually gonna have to redo them. But
Which ones?
the Fantastic Four movies.
Oh! We don't talk about those movies.
Yeah.
But
Those
apparently
movies
they're
are
gonna
bad.
they have to redo them, and the next time that it's a whole you can deep dive into it. But
Well, it's because they bought the rights to it now. So Disney has the rights. So MCU can officially like implement the Fantastic Four the right
Hopefully
way.
Yeah.
not make them terrible.
No, they'll do great. I
Yeah.
have very good faith that they'll
They've
do a
never
good
made
job.
a bad one. I don't
Literally.
think so.
MCU has been like
Yeah,
literally
I don't
like
think they've
batting
ever made
1,000.
a bad
yeah.
one.
you jotted down notes, did you not?
Yeah, no, I have some stuff. We
I'm
can go over
down.
some stories and stuff.
Do you wanna get into the Mexican caravan or
Oh, yeah, we
thing
can talk about
first
that,
before we hop into that?
Yeah,
Like what
fuck the
happened
cartel.
in Mexico? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I saw you're pretty passionate about that. How about you're probably more informed on it than either of us, so you could give the rundown for people who don't know what we're talking about, and then we can dive into it.
So
Here, honestly, dude, get changed up, but
get
just
comfortable. Okay.
yeah,
Is this good?
yeah, that works.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not like super informed about what happened. I know there's basically I think it's like a Mormon fundamentalist like group or something similar to that from Utah that were driving to their like compound or where they live in Mexico. I believe it's just south of the Arizona border. And they were ambushed by one of the drug cartels. I'm not sure which one. And there was women and children and like 8-month-old twins and all this stuff. And they just killed all of them like brutally, and they burned a lot of them alive.
What the fuck?
Shot up all the cars. It's just rough. It's just a really rough thing. I know that several people made it out alive. There was like a kid that like went and like hid his family underneath like brush, and actually that saved
Wait,
them.
where was this?
in Mexico.
Okay. During that whole
South Arizona border.
Yeah,
Okay.
South Arizona border, I believe.
This was like last week, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea about any. I thought we were getting into the whole El Chapo's kid with the whole fucking thing that was going on.
Oh, that's wild too. I mean,
that's what we were talking about.
Totally different story. No.
Shit.
Yeah, this is a new event that happened last week.
They killed. I think it's like eight American citizens that were traveling, to in Mexico. They just straight up ambushed them, killed all of them.
Do you know if they were in like a relatively safe area because they were on like probably missionaries, that they were in a bad area?
I don't. It's no offense to Mexico, but I don't think any area in Mexico is safe.
Yeah, one of the more touristy areas.
Yeah, it's not one of the more touristy areas.
I figured it wouldn't be.
They were away because it was like they were like there was a group of them that were all like living there. It was kind of like, I think it was like a fundamentalist compound. Like,
okay,
do you know about that at all? So I lived in Utah for a little bit. So, and this might be all wrong. This is just what I've heard. I'm not a Mormon. I'm not whatever.
Yeah.
But they have there's like groups of Mormons that go by different teachings than those that are commonly practiced in
like
modern day
ones?
Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
And they'll have like different compounds where they kind of like just live, and it's kind of like Amish. They like wear these they wear like cotton dresses that are like
interesting.
Long.
So like a sect of Mormonism.
Yeah, it's a different section, kind of like branch of Mormonism. I've seen them at like bounce houses out in Utah in like full cotton dresses, and I'm like, that's weird. But anyways, I think it was like one of those groups because they were living in a secluded area, just kind of doing their own thing. But yeah, just ambushed by the cartel. And
so what happens after that? Like,
it's Mexico, so probably
nothing.
But
that they're American citizens, nothing has, just because they were.
So I mean, as far as us as citizens, we'll probably know nothing.
Yeah.
But I have a good feeling that we already have like U.S. boots on the ground, going through and tearing shit up.
Yeah, doing what they need to do.
I'm kind of that's what we were talking about. I like posted this one meme, and it was like after you find out that American citizens were killed by a cartel. And have you ever seen Super Troopers?
Yeah,
where the guy's like, "You boys like Mexico?" That's literally been me and my friends like this week. They're like, "Dude, let's go, deploy us."
So nothing came after that though. Like
they said they have somebody in custody, but see, I don't know really how that works because like I know with Mexican gangs and stuff, you don't murder people that aren't involved in the gang.
That's
you
what I was
don't do that.
wondering.
That's like against the rules. Like if you just murder somebody just for shits and gigs, they'll kill you. Like the members of the gang will kill you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the people on that side, because pretty much the entire country is run by the cartels. It's sad. But I don't know how they're gonna run. How like within the cartel that's gonna run. I don't know if they're gonna put a hit out on these guys or what. But apparently they have someone in custody over that, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that.
And so like, do you think they ambushed them thinking they were someone different, thinking that they had money or something?
Apparently it was thought that they were other members of the cartel. That's what I read. I don't know, like how do you fuck that up that much?
Yeah, seriously.
I don't think that's
niche Mormons look like that.
Yeah, and apparently, like fucking like 8-year-old little Mormon kid, 8-month-old little Mormon kids.
Yeah,
like come on, like no.
And eventually, even if you ambush the car, like you go over there and look at them before you burn them alive.
Yeah,
you know who you're burning alive.
Yeah. You know who. Yeah, something's weird there for sure. I don't know if it was a hit or
it was like them trying to make a statement, maybe
or what. I don't know, but America is not too happy with that, and I'm sure Mexico isn't too happy with that either.
Yeah.
So
causing more problems.
I'm not sure what'll happen, but I would not be surprised if we put American boots on the soil of Mexico to help combat that.
Yeah.
So which
fucking nuts. I had no idea.
Which lets my have you seen Sicario at all, the movie? Oh, it's so cool. So it's like a similar thing. Like they're trying to take down the drug cartels, and it's American guys. Like
I think I've heard about it.
Pretty much in there. It's badass movie. There's 2 of them, and it's super cool. But that, like, I'm a fanboy of that movie, so it kind of gets me excited. I'm like, yeah, throw the Army Rangers in there and just let them go to town. But yeah, no, it's really sad. Obviously, I feel super sad for that family.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that they don't get to see their family anymore because they got ambushed in Mexico. So that's why I don't really like Mexico. I don't really like going there. I went on that cruise, but when my mom told me that's what we were planning on doing, I was like, I don't know. I was kind of skeptical.
I went on a cruise and stopped in Ensenada.
Ensenada, yeah.
I just,
It's
was
cool.
with my ex, and I went in there, and I was just like, let's just go back. Because we don't know, 1, where we are, 2, we don't speak the language, 3, there are people on every corner trying to sell stuff because, but those people look
the
fine.
cops are corrupt. Everything, like, everything's just bad.
Yeah,
like, everything's bad. It's a dangerous area, and
it's not
some
to
people
say
might be
everybody
listening
there,
right now that say that Mexico's not that bad. They go down there all the time. They have family down there, and that's true. I've been down there a good amount, and I've nothing's ever happened to me. But I don't like going down there at all. I really do not like going to Mexico. I think it's just it's a scary place. Like, I'll go and get tacos in LA. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can get tacos and a cold Pacifico in LA. And
we have a very, very heavy Hispanic like culture here anyway. So it's not like you need to go down there to get your fix.
You get authentic shit down the street. Like,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It's a very unsafe area down there, especially along the border.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
It's a huge bummer too, because like I was actually talking about this to Danny, and I think either Joel or Spring, one of the two, the other day. And I was just talking about, like, imagine how different life would be if the cartel was not even, if the cartel wasn't even present in Mexico. Like, crazy. Mexico would be like Hawaii level touristy. It's gorgeous
it's
out there.
It's so beautiful.
Super
good
tropical.
Water. It's just like,
waterfalls, all this, a lot of stuff that Hawaii has. And if it was like, let's say, as peaceful as Canada, it would be like living next to this like exotic paradise that people would go down to all the time.
For sure.
And Mexico would probably be a much, much more prevalent power in the scale of like globally. They'd probably have a bigger say in things and much more pull in like things like the UN and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, it's just such a bummer that like they're absolutely crippled by like this like organized crime out there.
Exactly. And that's really what runs it. It runs the entire country.
And that's a perfect transition
really
over to El Chapo's son being captured. And then
Yeah.
the cartel saying, hey, government, let him go.
Yeah.
And they listen.
Yeah. And that's sad. Like, it pisses
crazy.
me off.
It blows my
that they just
mind.
let that happen, but I understand, because there's so little of them that aren't corrupt and that aren't, working with the cartel and all this stuff. It's terrifying. But I don't know if you guys saw any videos of the guys rolling around that were trying to get El Chapo's son free. And they're loaded up with, full auto belt
I saw the dude with the
guns,
RPG.
RPGs, like all this crazy shit, man. Like
shit that you would see in like fucking video games they were carrying. And I saw a dude laying on the floor with, I don't even know what kind of sniper, like in my head, it's instantly a 50 cal. But when he was firing it, all the fucking dust around him just flew away. I was like, oh, that's a powerful fucking gun.
Exactly. And that's, they aren't getting their weapons from the US, from private sales or anything like that. Like, they're getting their weapons from some illegal stuff, and they have the money to do it.
You can't get a heavy machine gun with the fucking box of bullets that connects to it at the bottom.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that here. And obviously so what that's called, actually, where they let somebody go or take the law into their own hands, is it's called lynching. That's actually a term for it.
Yeah.
So lynching is often associated with, obviously, like the hanging of
like
of slaves or whatever back in the day. So it's a similar thing. It's them back then it was them capturing the slaves and or whatever, somebody that did something wrong and just hanging them.
Yeah.
They're taking law into their own hands.
Whereas
now more commonly what we see it, because I've seen it before too, and I've almost had it happen, or had a good lynching or attempt lynching, when we're taking somebody into custody and like their family starts surrounding us and they're trying to threaten us and try to get us to set that person free. That actually happened. I wasn't there when it happened. I was actually off, thank God, because something happened in my town and we were like pretty much on the verge of a gang war for like a week. It was super scary. Yeah, and there was like riots like every other freaking like every day, pretty much like 3 times a day.
Jesus Christ.
And I guess somebody one of my friends actually stopped a car and all 3 people in the car were convicted felons, gang members, and all 3 had guns on them. So
was he by himself?
It was like him and a partner.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
He was a really good cop, and basically the family started calling other family members, and sooner or later there was like a swarm of people that was going around, and they actually I've never seen this done before because they were gonna wait to tow the car, but it was such a hostile area, it was so crazy, and we're like, hey, we can't wait to.
Yeah,
tow
like
the
you
car.
have to get out of there. Your safety.
So they put somebody else in the car, and we just like took the car.
Oh,
Literally
shit.
just drove.
They took the car
They
itself?
drove the personal car to the station, and we towed it from the station.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy. I've never heard of that happening before.
That's legit.
Did they actually arrest anyone?
Yeah, convicted felons with guns.
Okay, so they actually, because I didn't know if it's one of those things where it's like, depending on the safety of the officers themselves.
Oh, like they won't do that? No, we don't do that.
You don't back down.
Oh, we don't back down.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing that pissed me off about down there is they let it happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
They back down.
they're going up against a bunch of crazy armed people, but
I mean, the
like,
shit that
you
they
don't
were
do
doing
that.
though, dude.
Yeah.
Like it was straight up fucking
war.
There was one video that
it is war. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
it's once you have RPGs and 50 cal snipers and all that shit, it's war.
It's
There
straight
was
up war.
videos of like families, and it was really fucking sad. But in translation of what the guy was saying in Spanish was his little girl and his son, they were crouched behind a car, and she's like, "Dad, can we stand up yet?" And he's like, "No,"
Yeah.
because they're trying to avoid all the bullets. Like, yeah, that's straight fucking war, dude.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
at some point, that's what I was gonna say is if you're surrounded, right? And I'm talking surrounded, and it's just 2 officers. They're trying to arrest like whatever 1 to 3 people, and you're surrounded by all their friends, family, and everything. And it's like we let them go, they leave us alone, or we don't let them go, and like cops get murdered for some reason. In that kind of situation, what do you do?
I'm just saying it'll be a cold day in hell before I let somebody go.
Yeah.
And that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
Like we don't back down.
Okay.
That's not what we do.
Not even if it's
especially
like you know the safety of your life is at hand.
the safety of our lives always at hand, and letting them go. It's like training a dog. You know, you let the dog do
Yeah, 'cause
something
then
wrong,
they'll just keep doing it.
and you just let it happen. It's just going to keep on happening. It doesn't
understand.
work like that. We don't let people go. We'll gas them all. We'll freaking toss tear gas in there. We'll call in air support. We'll call in other units. I can have every unit in the city on me in minutes.
Yeah.
With a touch of a button.
Yeah.
And we'll handle business if we have to.
Yeah.
You know, it comes down to that. If you want to be violent, you want to threaten us, you want to surround us.
Yeah.
Try and get your homeboy free. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You got another thing coming.
No,
Yeah,
fair
because
enough.
as soon as they see it successful, then they start planning to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's a good point of like the whole training people to.
Yeah. So there's a smart way to do it. There's a you got to do it smart. We do that all the time where it's like, hey, this is a bad area. You know, people are starting to get angry. We're getting surrounded right now. Toss them in the car. We'll deal with other stuff later. Get them out of here. You know, and so there's certain things that we won't do procedurally because we're getting surrounded. It's a hostile environment. It's a dangerous place.
Right.
But we would never let someone go.
That's fair.
Yeah. You know, it's the same thing as like a prisoner transport or something like that. You're transporting someone, maybe a high level someone to down to the hospital or wherever. You get ambushed. Like you die trying to keep that guy in custody. You know, we don't do that. Even in hostage situations and everything, the only person that can authorize release of a prisoner is the chief or the sheriff, like the actual
Head honcho.
the head guy.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really happen.
I guess
pretty much like we get taught in the academy, like, hey, if you get taken hostage and that, it's not good. Try and figure out something because pretty much they aren't going to let them go for the release of you.
I don't know. I guess on a grand scale, when I'm looking at the Mexico situation with El Chapo's son, if they had him in custody, and I'm talking fucking citizens, like there were so many fucking people shooting.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do in that situation as a government that clearly is weaker than the cartel themselves? Do you just
that's the thing. Like, if you're weaker than the cartel and you're losing that battle, like, you basically have to decide, do you want the cartel to kill the rest of the good cops we have here, or take this loss, regroup, and try to see what you can do later?
And that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's what they did. Like, you know, that's what they did. It like irritates me, but it irritates me that the government is less powerful than the cartel.
Yeah.
You know, not that I want the government like in the US, not that I want the government to have all the power, but I want the safety. Yeah. Our government, the people that we have fighting for us, they're good guys. Like they aren't, you know, corrupt criminals. They aren't criminals. Our government, you know, the FBI, the CIA, all our federal law enforcement, the entire U.S. military are all good people. They're sworn to uphold the Constitution, you know, so it's good having that power, you know, because we've seen it in times in the past when, you know, when big cities go in, like with the LA riots. I don't know do you guys know if they deployed the military for the LA riots? I don't know.
I think they got a National Guard.
I think they do. Yeah, they'll deploy like the National Guard. They'll bring the military in, and they're like, no, this shit ain't happening. Like, calm down. You know, you can't just go and loot and burn this city. You know, burn the city down. It doesn't work like that. So we'll deploy whatever resources we need to maintain control of that situation. Because if you let rioters and looters burn that city down, then you just taught them, hey, that works. You know, that's good to go.
I wonder where the turn happened, because I don't know anything about the history of Mexico nor the history of like the cartel and the government and how it was built over time. But there had to have been a turn of events, unless the cartel has always run, like corruption has always from the beginning of time run in Mexico. I literally don't know. But where the turn of events happened, that the cartel started winning every situation where they're bigger, because obviously they have,
where like the scales tipped in favor of the cartel over the government,
because they have part of their government plays with the cartel, like literally is hand in hand with them. They have officers over there that are taking money from the, and this is actual shit that I know of because of there's backgrounds on it. There's podcasts that show people that used to actually fight over there. And they're like, no, there are cops that take payments from the cartel to see a situation and walk away.
Walk the other way. And it's money. It's all money.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just...
And protection.
Yeah, money and protection.
Because like when the cartel goes, hey, walk the other way or I'll kill your whole family, like, what are you going to do in that situation?
Yeah. It's scary for sure. Like dealing, you know, they're obviously dangerous people. And it's, I don't know when that happened at all. I know money and drugs have always been a huge thing down there, and as their main thing is just all money. It's money and power, and it's just a terrifying thing to know that there's there's really, I feel like, nobody that you can trust down there.
It's like such a weird situation.
Like even the cops.
Yeah.
You know, like even like a good chunk of the cops are involved in that stuff down there.
Yeah,
and that's
big time.
That's why it's cool. Like, being on the inside of this, like you see how many good people there are. Yeah. This side of the, you know, like working for this country. You know, I think we've had like one instance where somebody was like bringing drugs in to the, like a deputy was bringing drugs into the jail, and they got him like quick. They got him really quick, and he's doing like 15 years in state prison. And, obviously fire and whatnot. So it's, we obviously hold integrity and you know, your moral compass to a very, very high standard. However much I make a year job is not worth me doing something stupid with organized crime. You know, and losing that. And first of all, obviously it's morally wrong, but just it's not worth it. Like why would you do that? So it's just obviously a different country, different moral values, different whatever.
And like,
scary though.
I think Mexico is one of those few places that I'm actually like not optimistic about it getting any better anytime soon.
I can't see it getting
like
better anytime
the Middle East, I'm optimistic about. Like you see that like the terror groups are like slowly but surely like shrinking.
Keep on making them blow themselves up.
Yeah, like you can
Cheers
see
to that, by the way.
Yeah, you can see that they are losing their power, that it's like seeming to regress, that it's getting better. It's not at the height of what it was in the earlier 2000s. And so
I
you can
agree.
see like the glimmer of optimism there. But like with Mexico, it's like when the very people who are supposed to be holding the country down and protecting it are either powerless or in bed with the exact people running the terror through the country. It's like, other than some outside force stepping in and changing it, like where is the change going to come from?
And I think that's the problem. And that's obviously going into a big, political thing.
That's a touchy topic of foreign affairs.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, are we just going to let that just destroy the country from the inside? Or are we going to step in and do something about it?
Yeah. Cause like that's our backyard.
Need to be, and it's like, okay, do we want to freaking not start a war with, but like go and try and
heavily
get
involved
in that
military-wise
when that's right next to us? Is that something that we want to do?
Especially when it's starting to affect American citizens every now and then.
Yeah.
You'll hear about it.
You hear about, obviously the drugs coming across the border is a huge deal.
That's where a ton of their money comes from.
That's where the vast majority of narcotics come from.
Yeah.
Is, and you'll see it too. Obviously don't work border patrol or anything, but those guys, man, it's crazy. I mean, you got people trafficking bodies across the US border. You got semi trucks that are bringing across like hundreds of thousands of pounds of drugs across the border. And they'll make busts with like semi truck fulls of freaking cocaine. And that's like maybe 5% of the one, of
what got through.
Yeah, of what got through. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Just the vast amount that are going through, and the amount of people, obviously, on this side of the border that are involved with the cartel and that are involved with drug trafficking is crazy. And that's one thing that, drugs is not a victimless crime. Even at a personal use level, obviously, like you're ruining things for yourself, you're ruining your health, you're ruining your family, you're ruining your friends, the way that your friends see you. And it's really sad. I know a lot of people get addicted, and it's heartbreaking. And then there are some people that they don't care. They just want
the high.
They just want the high, and they'll do whatever. They'll be violent. They'll they'll steal, lie, hurt somebody else just to get their little $10 hit of meth.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, and that's what's terrifying. But all these people bringing drugs across the border, that's what's starting that. Like the illegal drug trade is crazy.
Do you think, and this is a little political, but do you think a huge part of that demand of drugs comes from like partially A, like the war on drugs, and B, like the criminalization of these drugs? Do you think that, like, because I know there are a lot of people who argue
that decriminalization
that decriminalization of if not all of them, then a good chunk of them will take a lot away from the powers of the cartel, because once people here can buy it from America, then the demand lessens from the cartel.
Yeah, and that's a huge arguing point for it, and that's a great arguing point for that, is obviously taking away the drugs, and then it's like, where's the need? It's going to drop.
Yeah,
it's going to drop
like,
everything.
I like just think if like weed and cocaine both just were legalized out here, and then there were programs where people could go out and purchase them here rather than having to use the black market. Yeah, I think that would take a huge chunk out of the cartel's demand.
Yeah, I feel like it would, but I've seen what these drugs do to people every day, and I still don't think that I could stand for the legalization of them, even though that would, I would agree, it would take a lot of money away from the cartel, and there'd be programs for people to do them safer. There's a lot of people out here that wouldn't do them safer. There are a lot of people that are still going to illegally do it, that are still going to find other ways to do it because they can't pay for the legal way, or they just don't want to. And it's just, these drugs are they just destroy people. They destroy people, and they destroy families. And there's nothing, like meth, there's nothing good.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about it. Like, well, it's not like, weeds, whatever. I mean, it's pretty much, it's legal here now. Still I find people violating weed laws all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal.
You can obviously differentiate between the drugs and what they do to people.
Yeah,
like
weed
marijuana
really
doesn't
that big of a deal.
It's not going to destroy families
all.
like PCP or meth.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but all those like higher level drugs, I'm like, there's no Like, why would you sell that? Why would you sell that at a fucking CVS, you know, or whatever, however people are proposing they do it. Like, it's not okay. And then you're obviously, I feel like you're going to have more people doing it because, hey, it's legal. It's like smoking cigarettes. Like, I'll just go and shoot some meth or store some meth. And then you're just going to have more high people running around, breaking into shit and fighting people. And, you know, because when you're high, you don't think. Like, there are people that are like on the down end of a high, and then there's some people that are just straight high. And it's like when you're really drunk, and you just have no logic, you know. I deal with drunk people. I deal with high people all the time. Just whenever we get a call that like somebody is like pretty much overdosed on, usually a stimulant like cocaine or meth or PCP or anything like that. PCP isn't a stimulant, but one of those drugs that brings you up.
An upper.
Yeah, an upper. It's rough, man. I always go, if I hear the call go out, I'm like, hey, this person's high on PCP or this person's high on meth. The family wants you to go and check them out or whatever.
Yeah, disarm the situation.
I'll always try and go to roll to those because I've fought a guy on meth.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I just went up and was trying to talk to him, and he's like, he's talking about he's an undercover FBI agent and all these people are watching and there's cameras or whatever. And I like went to go and grab him and he just took off back towards his house. And I wasn't going to let him go into the house because then he could get a weapon or whatever. So I ended up tackling him. And then me and my partner were just trying to control this guy, and he's swinging on us and trying to kick me and whatnot. I tased him and it just like didn't do anything pretty much. So
that's so crazy.
Yeah, no, it's great. Well, so this is kind of a little bit of a tangent, but the way a taser works is, you know, like those, like the gas station stun guns that you see, like just those loud, like those ones. Yeah, those don't really do anything. They just kind of hurt.
Yeah.
What makes our police tasers so great
with the
is
barb?
They shoot. Yeah, so we call them darts.
Yeah.
So they shoot the two darts, and basically anything within those two darts is going to contract. Is going to literally, you could feel no pain, but your body physically contracts, and there's no way you can control it.
Shit.
That's what's cool.
Because that's what controls the contractions in your body anyway, is the electrical current from your spine.
And it just locks the entire body up.
So it just hacks your system.
Exactly. It hacks the system. So when somebody's high, like if you took a gas station stun gun and put it to their leg, it's just going to piss them off. They can smack that shit away and continue beating the shit out of you.
Yeah.
With ours, if like, for instance, with this guy, I darted him, but it was really close because we were both on the ground fighting, and probably only got like a 3-inch spread on the dart, so that area contracted, which angered him more. So then what I ended up doing is I brought the taser down while the barbs were still attached and hit it to his calf, and that got like a full body.
Whoa,
yeah, that got like a full body connection.
Shit.
Yeah, it was super cool. So then he was, you know, like, like he was locked up. You know, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't move. Yeah. So that's what you want to do, is you want to get a good spread on it. But the taser,
that's nuts.
Yeah, but people think the taser is like a solve all to the situation.
A cure all.
They really don't work that often. So that's what I'm describing to you is a perfect dart spread, like with
top of the body to lower the body.
Yeah, top of the body to lower body. Okay, no clothing or light clothing. Like if I shoot and one hits the guy and the other hits his belt buckle, it's pointless. Game over. He's still going to come out with the gun or the knife, and then I'm going to die. You know, so that's why people are like, "Oh, why didn't you just tase him?" A lot of times when these police shootings happen, either it's so fast that, like, if somebody's running at me with a knife, I'm not going to draw my taser. That's a way to get stabbed and killed. You know, I'm going to meet lethal force with lethal force.
Yeah, the closer they get, the shorter your spread's going to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just. And that's so even if you hit them. Yeah. That's even if you get one shot with the taser. It's one shot. It's a little blast door, and you pull the trigger and it shoots the two darts. And if you miss one of them, that's it. I mean, you can reload it, but it takes 6-7 seconds to take the other one off.
Which is a long time.
Exactly. And that's if you have another one on the belt, which I don't really. I only have the room for the taser. Yeah. So I have one shot. Pretty much one shot, and then I can drive stun them. So it's good in like a fight or something like that if somebody's fighting me. But anytime somebody has a weapon, pretty much our rule is like 2 or 3 people with lethal up front, and then you have somebody with a taser or the 40 millimeter or whatever behind them. you know, because we obviously don't want to hurt people. We don't want to shoot people.
Yeah.
We don't want to. Sometimes we're left with no option, you know, but that it's crazy the scrutiny that we're put onto or that we're put under, obviously. Like we don't want to do that. We want to take the person into custody without them hurting themselves and without us hurting them. But you know, sometimes it doesn't work like that. We'll try to use the less lethal option. We'll try to tase them. We'll try to 40 millimeter them, and it doesn't work. And then they're charging at us or whatever, and it's, you know,
your
game
final
over.
option.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the general like public's idea of a taser is like a video game idea of a taser, where it's like you shoot someone
And
with
they
like
just drop.
you shoot someone with like this like magic like dart, and as soon as it goes in there, then it just like fills their body with electricity, and they like seize on the ground because it's just
And
so
it
much
just works
electricity
instantly. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't think about how you need the spread, and it just contracts muscles. It doesn't like fry their insides. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
You also emphasized last time, and we will re-emphasize now, that like you guys are human beings.
Of course.
You said you don't want to hurt anybody, but at the same time, if somebody's charging at you, your first reaction is to protect yourself.
Yeah,
like
they
you're
made their
gonna
decision.
do.
And
So if
that's
somebody's coming at me with a knife, they made their, or a gun or whatever, you know, they made their decision.
Yeah.
They want to seriously
take that on.
harm me or kill me. They have decided to do that, and I am not going to not go home to my mom and to my brothers because of some person high on PCP that decided to run at me with a knife. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I have no problem living with myself doing that. Okay, I clock into work for 8 hours each day, and that's a possibility that something like that could happen. I know that's a possibility that could happen. I thought about that before I applied, before I got in the academy, you know, and they really try to hammer that home in the academy. It's like, can you make that decision? Okay. And it's no problem if you can't. You just don't do this job.
yeah.
Don't do this job, because if it comes down to it and you get stabbed because you were like, I didn't want to shoot. I didn't want to, you know, do whatever. It's like, okay, well, now you got a knife in you, you're bleeding out, and you're going to die because you couldn't make that decision.
They also think that you guys are like Sherlock Holmes and all the fucking movies and shows where he can slow down time and fucking pick apart every situation that's
I'm gonna shoot
happening.
his left pinky. That's
Yeah.
left pinky
That'll
toe. That's
cripple
gonna
him.
get him.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you know,
no.
obviously we talked about that before. Like I train with firearms a lot,
Yeah.
and I feel like, you know, obviously
Like shoot
not
him
to
in the
brag.
leg. Shoot him in the
Yeah,
leg.
I'm not to brag. I'm a one of the better shots that I know, and
That
I
was
know
the most
damn
humble
well.
way to say that.
I'm trying-
I appreciate that
thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Well, if firearms are a passion of yours and you practice a lot,
Yeah.
you have that skill honed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and that's something
There's
I
no
train
problem
with
saying that.
constantly because it's something I enjoy. And I'm telling you right now, if somebody was running at me there's no way I could just shoot him in the leg. There's no way, and there's no way I'm going to try to, because why would I do that? Because especially,
It's not like the movies. Again,
no,
when you shoot
it's not
someone
like-
and they just hit the ground like,
oh, that's it. No. You see people that are high, especially people that are high, people that want to do damage, they don't feel pain. You literally have to shut the body down. That's why I'm talking about with the taser. The pain, they don't feel it. You literally physically have to get that good spread, which involuntarily shuts their body down.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, you know, with
bullets.
with bullets. It's the same thing. Like you could shoot someone and
They're
they'll
like,
get
why
filled-
didn't you cut their Achilles heel and shoot them in the
no,
knees?
It's not like that, especially
shut the
with
fuck
how
up.
weak our handguns are.
Yeah.
You know, rifles are a different story, but like how weak our handguns are, you can shoot somebody 7 times and they'll still be running at
There
you.
was
You know,
a-
if you don't hit the right
hit a-
spot.
yeah.
The
And-
fucking dude with the machete or knife in the middle of the street was like a video.
Yes.
And they put
That
how many
video.
bullets in him, and he
Oh
was
my
still
God.
fucking going.
Yes. Okay, so I forget where that was.
Yeah,
I
I
wish I
don't
would have
remember.
remembered where that was. But yeah, there's a video out.
See if I can find it while you're talking about it.
Yeah. So there's a video out, and these 2 cops. There's like a dude with like a machete or a knife or something like that, and he's just walking at these cops, and they backpedal for like a mile. First of all, we really don't do that because that's really dangerous for us. Because if we trip, then and fall
Jesus.
backwards, then we're in a super bad tactical advantage.
That's terrifying.
So we're trained not to, backpedal maybe for a sec, but I don't really
I've
backpedal.
seen-
If somebody's coming at me with a weapon, that's a threat. And
Dude,
I'm going to handle
I've
it
seen a
accordingly.
video where a body cam video where a dude did trip and then the guy like grabbed him and put the knife to his throat and his partner like popped the
Yeah,
guy
so
in the head.
so that's the one
It
we're
was
talking
in,
about. Yeah.
Athens, Georgia.
Yeah, so two Georgia cops, they're detaining this guy at gunpoint, and he's coming at them with a knife, and they just backpedal. They're giving him commands. They're doing everything
They're almost like
right.
pleading for him
but
to just
they're like,
stop.
Oh yeah,
and
they literally
are.
in the video you can hear
They're
him be like,
they're
dude, please.
stop. We don't want to shoot you. We don't want to shoot you. And he's continuing to come at them like he's made that decision. He wants them to make that happen, which is sad, but he's made that decision. He's going to hurt you if you don't do that. And then of course he picks up and starts running at them. And, the guy fires like 8 shots in the guy and he like eventually stumbles and falls to the ground. And then they move forward. One of them has the handgun, and then the other one switches to a taser, which once again is stupid because you're still dealing with a life-threatening threat. And then the guy with the taser, I think, I forget exactly what happens, but he charges like the one with the taser or something.
When they put the bullets in him, what you see in the video is that the one cop shoots him and he kind of goes around him in like this weird semicircle.
Yeah.
And then he grabs the other cop and has him at like...
At knife point.
And
he's taking his gun
throat.
too.
Yeah.
He's trying
to take his gun, and then the guy makes this life-saving shot, thank God, and he doesn't hit his partner, and he hits the guy and ends the threat.
Yeah.
But that's why we shoot to end the threat. We don't shoot to kill. We shoot to stop the threat.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy obviously wanted to die. He got shot like 8 times, and then he got up.
It's so fucking
and
crazy,
grabbed
dude.
The cop at knife point and was taking his gun. And it was such a good training video, and I'm so thankful. Like I hate that it happened, but I'm so thankful it was caught on body cam, so that can be shown nationwide. This is why we do what we do.
Right.
This is why. Okay.
That's why people are like,
your throat slit by some guy because you didn't end the threat.
Yeah.
Like that's on you. Like
I always hear people complain when the videos like that surface because they're like, oh, why did they have to like fill him with rounds? Like, why didn't they just shoot him once? Yeah. Like, usually like one bullet is all it takes to kill somebody. Like, why?
It's not like that.
Yeah. And like, I remember the video, again, there's like an endless fucking list of videos of this stuff. But I remember the video of the guy in the neighborhood and he was fighting the female officer and he took the gun from her and shot at her.
That one's terrifying.
And she's running and he shoots at her. And then the other officers pull up, tell him to put the gun down, and he aims it at them and then just shots ring out.
Yeah.
Like dozens of them.
That video is terrifying.
Yeah,
that's like one of my biggest fears is having my gun taken. Obviously having somebody overpower me in a fight or something and take my gun, like getting killed by your own gun. That is just the most terrifying thing I could ever imagine. And that lady's super lucky she's alive.
Dude, I thought she died when I first saw the
she's
video.
super lucky she's alive. She's super lucky there were people right around the corner that showed up and killed that guy. That was terrifying. Yeah, so we shoot to end the threat. If it took 30 rounds to end that threat, that's 30 rounds. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't look good. Okay. And like, the public's not going to like it, but
the public isn't as educated.
But we go home. Yeah. They don't know anything about ballistics, about bullet ballistics, about, what a bullet does to the body. That's all high tech science stuff, but stuff that we have to know about. That's why, personally for me, if I'm doing anything high risk, like a high risk traffic stop where somebody's might be armed, like, we recover a stolen vehicle and there's like somebody driving a stolen vehicle, or any sort of shooting suspect, anything where there might be a weapon, especially if there's somebody with a gun. We're going into a situation knowing that somebody has a gun, somebody's armed. I'm gonna bring a rifle or a shotgun at least, because our handguns aren't really that
the best.
Powerful.
They aren't that powerful. It's a reactive weapon, whereas a shotgun or a rifle is an offensive weapon, and that's something like we don't want to play fair. I don't want to get in a fair gunfight with somebody.
Yeah.
I want to win.
At least give the criminal a chance.
No, I'm not going to give the criminal a chance. I want to win that because I want to go home to my family, because I'm not a dirtbag. I'm a good guy, so that's why we do that, because both of those have a lot better ballistics than a handgun. So we're able to engage threats at a longer distance, and it'll do more damage and stop the threat quicker, which is honestly cleaner. Like, when you think about it,
you don't need a full clip.
I don't need 30 rounds to stop a threat when a round or two will do it. with a rifle, and it looks better, I guess, to the public. Oh, they shot him twice as opposed to shooting him 30 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
The public's going to hate us no matter what we do. Whether we use
You're always
hands
wrong.
only, whether we use a baton, whether we use a taser, whether we use a gun, it's like
Like they're just
going to hate us no matter what.
video clip of the guy who had a machete, and then he rushed the cop that was in full gear, and then the cop fucking flipped him over his shoulder and threw him on the ground. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I did.
And they think every cop can do that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was like a movie.
I'm pretty sure it was a movie.
I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
was staged.
Yeah,
like there's no way somebody would do
and
that.
even if it wasn't, he's the only one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
Exactly.
He's the only, do you know what we're talking about?
I think so. I mean, I've seen videos too of cops in Europe where there's not as much gun prevalency,
they
and
have,
and they're talking about
batons,
they disarmed this guy who had a knife without shooting him, oh, look at that, and
it
it's
took like 8 of them, and two of them almost got stabbed, and and I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
yeah.
If you had a wild, putting people in this situation, if you had a wild animal coming at you,
Yeah.
and on your list of weapons on your right were a baton, a taser, pepper spray, I don't fucking know,
Yeah.
and
Your
a gun,
fists
and it
and a
shows
gun,
you
yeah.
the statistics of what's going to stop this wild animal. You had a list of shit and training, and it was like the gun is the only thing that's going to stop this wild animal. What do you
And
think?
that's not even a guarantee.
Yeah, that's not even a
And
guarantee.
it's just like people, again, it's that Sherlock Holmes that you are not going to fucking
just
know
shoot that
what to
mountain
do.
lion that's charging you just in the toe. That way it'll
But yeah, I think it's important.
That way it'll stop.
It's important to know that there's a video, I forgot where it was, some fucking school, I think some university, where there's a guy with 2 knives in his hands, and there were cops in a semicircle pointing at him. And this is getting off of the topic of putting multiple bullets in maybe because he seemed like he was on drugs, 2 knives in his hand. I read the actual report on it, and one of the bullets went astray and hit a student's window.
Yeah, she was watching.
And you know what I read underneath that?
What?
People saying that the cops did it on purpose because she was recording. Hey,
oh my gosh.
Hey,
that's ridiculous.
You're a quarter mile away behind glass that is The cop doesn't fucking see you with a phone.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, at the angle, if that's what people don't get too. If you're shooting at somebody and you miss them, that bullet doesn't just poof in the air.
Stop,
it will find a destination.
Yeah, even if
so that's what we're trained on that too. Obviously, it's okay, you got to know. So we always try to position our backstop whenever tactically. Whenever we're able to, whenever the situation is able to, it's not too fast.
Yeah.
If somebody's just charging at me a knife out of nowhere, I'm going to shoot, and whatever's behind it is behind it.
Yeah. You just hope nothing's there.
Yeah. I just hope nothing's there. But whenever it's a static situation, we're detaining somebody at gunpoint and we're trying to talk them out of whatever, we'll obviously position ourselves. So, hey, there's a dirt berm behind us. Okay. So if we do have to shoot, then it's not going to go into anything like that type of thing. So, we try to be smart about that type of stuff.
Just as a heads up, because how long do you have? I don't know if you
probably another 45 minutes to an hour, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that fair? Sweet. Okay.
But yeah, the bullet went astray, and it's first of all, you got to think about ricochet. Happens.
People were bitching about the cop's aim. They were like, how do you miss that bad?
Oh my god.
And then secondly,
do you want us to shoot him or not? That's just what I always.
All right, guys, let's go home.
Yeah,
just fucking
whatever.
Leave the man with 2 knives.
With the 2 knives, let him run around and stab children. That's fine.
Fuck it.
That's a good idea.
It's ricochet, and then on top of that, bullets don't always go straight. There are sometimes yes, I'm not saying that the fucking gun's going to just you're looking straight and it's just going to curve left. But those things can happen too. And I think people just have this misinterpretation. Well, not think.
It's
I know.
ignorance.
Yeah,
it's just,
it is.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And you just got to know it. It irritates the hell out of me reading that type of stuff. So I just try not to read it because I'm they aren't going to be as knowledgeable about it as I am because I do it every day. I'm trained on it. My department has put thousands of dollars into me, to train me to know about these things and try to make it the least liability as possible.
Yeah.
They try to.
Nobody else has that unless you're a cop.
Yeah, exactly. So,
have you had anything crazy happen in the past?
Crazy stuff happens every shift, man.
No, I mean, that's actually fairly true. Stuff that stands out.
Yeah. So, just off the top of my head, yesterday we had 4 kids try to carjack an old lady, which is really sad. Yeah. We got them.
Nice.
Yeah. We
That is great.
Yeah. Two of the 4 were directly involved. But basically, call went out as a carjacking. It was in a mobile home park, and we went up, and the 2 victims, I felt so bad. They like, well, there was one victim and then a witness that saw it, but they were like elderly ladies, so their memory was like, they were having difficulty like telling me what happened and what they saw. So thankfully there's another guy that like saw them running, and so he gave me a good description on them. So pretty much what we want to do is we want to get on scene and provide like the most accurate information to our partners as quick as possible, because we're trying to find them. The ultimate goal is to catch these guys.
Yeah.
We don't want to just go and take a report for it. We want to
Stop.
we want to
from
bring these
around.
people to justice.
Yeah.
You know, and the best time to do that is fresh after it happens.
Yeah.
You know, because that way we don't have to go and look at video camera footage and do it, you know, and try to identify these guys. Hey, they were here. They were just seen leaving here. It's them. So one of my partners actually like stood up on the hood of his car in like the desert and was like looking, and he saw them running.
Whoa, no
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it was legit. It was really good. It was really good on my partners.
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, I think I got him like leaving the location. I think I seen him. I'm like, hey, go get him. Go like go detain him at gunpoint and figure it out. So we detained him at gunpoint over at a gas station, and so I basically told the victim, I was like, stay here, don't move. Remember the story. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I like hauled ass. You know, I get over. I bring my rifle out, and we get him at gunpoint, and you know, they were 13, 14, 17, and 19.
I was gonna ask.
God damn.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So of course the public's all filming us like, wow, they got these, you know, these kids are unarmed. They're just kids. And they're all yelling that too. We're just kids, blah, blah, blah. But we got good positive identification on. So 2 of them weren't really involved. They were just in the group.
Was
and
it the
then 2
younger
of them
kids?
actually, the 2 younger, the 13 and 14-year-old didn't really do anything. So they got released to their parents. After the parents chewed the living shit out of them.
Good. It's always good to
Rightfully
watch.
So.
Good.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. And then the 2 older ones are going to jail for felonies. So
Oh shit.
yeah. So they try it. So, but you know, obviously the public looks at, literally there's people filming us like, wow, he got a rifle out. You know, all these people are like, why? They're just kids, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
It's
no
like,
fucking
well,
idea.
yeah, they just tried to mug an old lady and steal her car.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you
Were
don't
they
know
just
that
kids
they're
at that
unarmed.
moment? Like,
Huh? Yeah. Are they just kids? Like,
Yeah.
sorry, man. Yeah.
And
what if that's your grandma?
Right.
You know?
exactly? And the thing is, they're sitting like, oh, they're unarmed. You don't know that.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
don't know that.
You don't know that. You're
Just
just gonna
'cause they're
assume.
kids,
Just
like-
assuming that.
Yeah, like if you're mugging somebody, half the time people use weapons.
Yep.
Like, and so like you can't just go in with any assumption, especially if
Yeah.
your life is on the line. They're like,
Exactly.
they probably don't have a gun.
Yeah, that's fine. That's how you get killed.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I get killed, is if I assume people don't have a weapon.
So
And
one of-
detaining at gunpoint doesn't mean you're going to shoot them. That's
No,
like
it's
the biggest thing people look past.
People usually cooperate when a gun's pointed at
Yeah.
you, and that's
Yeah.
what we do. Because if we didn't do it, then there's more likelihood for force being involved. For, you know, okay, now we're going to get in a fight because they don't think we mean business, blah blah blah, and then that looks worse.
Yeah.
So it's better to detain at gunpoint, especially on high risk crimes like that, like you know, your carjacking, your robbery, burglary, just shooting, anything like that. We detain at gunpoint all those times, and we're safe about it, and we most people comply when they have, you know, 5 officers pointing a gun at them.
So in a situation like that, because I think I brought it up last time, my brother's phone ended up getting stolen, and one of the things that we were told was, even if we did get your phone back, it'd probably go in whatever lockup that they have, because up to a certain point, like, you're not going to get your phone back for a while. So that woman who got her car stolen, right?
Yeah,
How long until she's able to get her shit back?
It was an attempt carjacking.
Oh, an attempt. I thought they actually got.
They
okay,
did not
yeah.
actually do it. But when they do actually do it, cars, it's a different story actually.
Yeah.
Because then it turns to Grand Theft Auto, right?
Yeah, it's a Grand Theft Auto basically. So we actually, a lot of times sometimes we'll hold the vehicle for prints if we don't know who did it.
Yeah.
But generally, if we find somebody driving it, that's good to go for the crime. That's good to go. They're
Right.
going to get prosecuted. Their charges are going to get filed.
If you find-
if you're driving a stolen vehicle,
I
you
mean,
know.
depending on what the object is that's stolen, does that determine how much time it goes? Like, even if you have the person that stole it, like, you know who stole it, we'll call it a phone for the sake of this whole thing. Cop catches him, gets the phone back, all those different things. Does the phone just go back to the original owner?
It varies.
Okay,
it varies
so it does.
from case to case.
Yeah.
On another case that I had, so this was another one that I had. Just kids.
Yeah.
So,
They're just kids.
Yeah. No.
And you have the luck running into the kids.
Oh yeah, I know. They're all these punk ass kids that go around robbing people. So, anyways, these kids. I got a call for a robbery just occurred. Basically, this 14-year-old kid was walking to his friend's house or whatever in like a dark alley, and these dudes rolled up with like masks on their face and pointed a gun at him and said, give me everything you have. All he had was phone and AirPods.
How old was he?
He was 14.
Fuck.
Gives them, it's like, please, don't shoot me. Gives them the stuff, and then they run off. Then he runs home. He doesn't have a phone. He runs home and tells his mom. I get dispatched the call, code 3, lights and sirens, and I get there. And first thing I do, determine, okay, yes, a robbery occurred, and I put out information. He described them really well.
Yeah.
This very distinct with their clothing. So then,
Good
sure
for the
enough,
kid.
huh?
Good for the kid.
Yeah, no, it worked out too, because one of my partners was driving around looking for him, and he was like, hey, can you repeat the description of the guys? And I told him. And then I hear on the radio, hey, I'm going to be detaining, 3 robbery suspects at gunpoint, southbound on this street, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, stay here. Same thing. So I zip around.
Every single shift.
Yeah. Every time. Literally. Dude, I love it. I love my job. So we go around, sure enough, get him at gunpoint, and fits the description perfectly.
Yeah.
Detain him, search him out and everything. We recover kid's iPhone, kids' AirPods in the pockets of them, basically, and no gun. Went back like 20 feet and looked in the bushes, and we found the gun.
Oh,
wow.
Shit.
Yeah. So
how old were they?
They were, one was 18, and then one was like 15 and 16.
Imagine being a piece of shit that wants to rob a kid.
Yeah,
you're
at
18.
That old. At that old, man.
You want to rob a fucking
crazy.
14-year-old.
At 15, I was terrified of talking to girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine going around robbing kids at gunpoint with
robbing
your friends.
at gunpoint.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, huh?
Yeah.
So, 2 of them got sent down to juvie, and then one of them we had in custody at the station. I believe we got a full confession out of him because they were denying it, and then we ended up getting a full confession.
So for something like that, because it's robbing somebody, you have a gun on you. I'm assuming probably not registered to that person. Like
it actually ended up being a BB gun. Yeah, it was a black BB gun, but
okay,
it's still the same crime.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even with like at gunpoint, because it's okay, cool.
Yeah, because the victim perceived it as a real gun.
Yeah, that's
how
the point.
Are you gonna know? That's the entire point.
Mm-hmm.
They're using the robbery, the crime element for robbery is taking the possession of somebody or somebody else from their immediate person by use of force or fear.
Okay.
That's why it's such a high level crime.
Yeah.
Okay, so running up to someone, pushing them to the ground, taking their phone, robbery. Breaking into somebody's house when no one's there, that's burglary. It's a different thing. That's
Ant-Man.
That's a common misconception. Same thing, like let's say
it's funny, we actually did talk about this on the last one too, but keep going.
Because that's why I said Ant-Man, because he's like, I'm a burglar. I don't scare people.
Yeah, I don't scare people. Yeah. So it's the same thing. Robbery obviously is a super high level crime because it involves force or fear. Because he used a BB gun intentionally to be perceived as a real gun.
Yeah.
And the victim perceived it as a real gun.
Yeah.
It's good to go. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the
person was like, it's a BB gun. I'm not scared. And then
so the dude that's 18 is like, what does jail time kind of look like for that? Or is it
depends.
Case per
it's
case?
California, so like crime's pretty much legal.
Yeah.
So pretty much sorry, legal. But yeah, I try not to think about that type of stuff because
pisses you off.
Because it pisses me off because like I catch these bad guys that are absolute
and then
terrible
you just
human
see
beings
them next week on the street.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
For first shift, I arrested somebody for a felony and they went home before I did.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's rare that happens with felonies.
That's so fucked.
But for most misdemeanors, literally they go home before I do, before I even finish a report, and it's sad. So I try not to think about that. Because it kind of takes my motivation away.
If you know what, I'm gonna write down something because it's something I don't want to ask on air. Okay, but I'll ask you later. About,
all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Real quick, off the top of my head. So say like you have a legal registered gun, right? You keep a handgun on you, and say you're driving and you have it on you and you get pulled over for a traffic stop. What is the best procedure? Do you take it out, put it on the dash, or do you tell the officer while you have your hands on the wheel, like I have a weapon on me?
Like on your person?
Yeah. Like say that I have a handgun on me and I get pulled over with like a tail light out or something.
Of course.
What should someone do?
Yeah, of course. Just obviously keep your hands on the steering wheel and stuff. Hey, you know, I pulled you over because your tail light's out or whatever. Do you have your license registration? Just say, yes, sir. You know, it's in my back pocket. Just so you know, I have a concealed carry firearm on me. It's legally registered to me. I have a concealed carry permit. You know, I'm doing everything right. You know, and just let him know where he's at without reaching for it. And then, you know, that's kind of on the cop. If the cop's like, okay, cool. Hey, I'm at, you know, have you step out of the car and I'm just going to take the gun out so we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Just do that. Obviously cooperate with him.
Definitely.
If he's like, yeah, just take it out and put it on the dash, or if he just continues, he's like, all right, you know, just don't reach for it or anything like that. Continue talking to me. Then that's fine. If you are, you know, if you're just on the way back from the shooting range or whatever, and it's not on you or whatever, if the cop asks if you have any weapon, you can be honest. Yeah, you know, I got it. I'm on the way back from the shooting range or whatever. I'm not gonna tell you legal advice on what to do. There's California gun laws are ridiculous, and that's, you know, my political opinion. But if they don't have legal right to search your car and you legally own firearms and they want to check them out, I mean, don't give them consent. I wouldn't, because like there are some California cops like, okay, you don't have a bullet button on your AR or whatever, you have an 11-round magazine, you know, and they're going to try and take you to jail for it because they're stupid. I would never do that. By the way, not saying I don't enforce the laws of California, but we have discretion as law enforcement officers. And personally, my belief is California gun laws are an infringement on the Constitution of the United States, and I swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States. So I refuse to ever take action against somebody, a law-abiding normal citizen that's just carrying a gun.
Isn't there a law that like if it's like a rifle, you have to keep it in the trunk? I believe something like
it
that
has to be. No, I think long guns actually you can keep in the cab. Actually, it's handguns and stuff that have to be in the trunk.
Really?
Yeah. Because long guns aren't like readily accessible, so that you can like carry. You can like, it's stupid too, but you can carry like a shotgun on like a gun rack, as long as it's illegal. Like, you know.
So, but if I have shotgun. Like, if I have a pistol, I can't keep it like on me or in my glove compartment. It has to be in the trunk. Unless
if you, I think in California, I'm not too well versed in these. I deal with a lot more like high level crimes.
Of course.
I try not to really deal with like,
you're not going to be able to have everything
gun citizen. Law-abiding gun citizen crimes. So I believe the law in California is it has to be, if it's inside the cab, it has to be stored in, or if it's inside the vehicle, it has to be stored in a locked container, unloaded. Or I think you just can't have like a round in the chamber or something like that. It has to be in a locked container though. So the trunk counts as a locked container. Okay. Like if you have a Pelican case or whatever, you know, just take the mag out and have it unloaded inside with a lock on the container, and technically that counts per law. You know, and things like that. Glove compartment doesn't work. Like if you just toss the gun in the glove compartment, technically that's not legal. In other states it is, but not.
So you're technically not allowed to drive with it like on your hip.
No, unless you have a concealed carry permit, which once again I think is stupid. I think people should be allowed to carry firearms. You know, if you're a law-abiding citizen.
Is it difficult to get a concealed carry permit?
In California? Yeah, especially in Los Angeles County. Our sheriff doesn't believe that people should have guns, which is stupid. But interesting. Once again,
you're like, I'm trying to keep it real down here.
I'm pulling the reins back a lot on this. But in other states,
you're like, can we pause this really quick? Just start going.
let me just blow off all the steam. No, California gun laws are ridiculous. So my opinions on California gun laws are very strong because I think it's ridiculous. But
do you think it helps your safety at all when dealing with criminals?
No,
because they don't listen.
Yeah, criminals aren't going to listen anyway. Yeah, like the felon that wants to carry a gun to go and rob people is going to carry that gun and rob people anyway.
I keep my gun in my Pelican case in my trunk before I go
have the victim be able to defend themselves.
That's a good point.
And we've dealt with situations like that. Actually, a little while ago, we had a call with somebody pulled a gun on somebody or whatever, and we pulled up. he was like going inside of a hospital too. So it was weird. It's kind of like high risk. And the guy, like, he seemed like a normal, there are some people we see him like, hey, that's a gangster. He just pulled a gun on somebody. That I'm a little bit more heightened than, like, it was like this like old guy that pulled it. And I was like, what's going on? And I was like, hey, do you have a gun on you? And he was like, yes, it's in my back pocket. I'm sorry. I have a concealed carry permit, blah, 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 all that stuff. So basically, like, we determined through interviewing people that, like, this guy, like, charged at him, and he was like this older guy, couldn't really defend himself. And he pulled the gun, and he was like, get away from me, get away from me. And it worked. So we're like, all right, to the guy that the gun pointed at him, like, hey, don't freaking threaten people and charge at them. I'm not saying, like, pulling a gun on somebody when you don't see a weapon or not a life-threatening situation is right. But
if you're an old guy and you feel threatened, like,
yeah, if you feel threatened for your life, you should be able to defend yourself. And other states, you're really able to do that. In California, it's a lot more difficult too. The concealed carry process in California pretty much goes by county. So the county sheriff, whatever county you live in or work in, has to authorize that pretty much. So if you're in Kern County, it's a lot easier to get it.
That makes sense.
Than like Los Angeles County, because it's a lot more conservative.
Totally
area.
fucking random tangent. It just made me think, because in my head I was like, you can't have a gun, and this is going on a fucking joking thing, and then it brought me back to something that happened when I was a kid. But it was just like, can you have a fucking sword? Like, it's long enough to, but you can?
Yeah, you can have a sword. Yeah.
Like an actual fucking sword.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
See,
as long as it's visible.
When I was a kid, there was somebody that was murdered
with the katana or whatever.
No, with a fucking bow and arrow.
Oh yeah.
Really? Yeah.
There's been actually a few people that have died from that shit.
Not like a crossbow, like a fucking old school bow and arrow, and just that's it. And that's how they were killed. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, there's no regulations on those, so I think that's good to go.
California's fucking up.
Yeah. There's some weapons that are illegal. There's like a long list of illegal weapons. Off the top of my head, like nunchucks. Nunchucks are actually a felony.
What
Fun
the
fact.
fuck?
Yeah. If they're not possessed by, like, somebody that's actively practicing martial arts, like, in a legal capacity, like, if you just see somebody walking around with nunchucks, it's actually a felony. Brass knuckles, like throwing stars.
Brass knuckles.
Like cane swords, like if it's a concealable. Have you seen those before? Like it's like a cane.
Yes. Cane swords. Got it.
It's a
well,
sword.
that's kind of badass.
Yeah, those are illegal.
Wait, those are illegal, but you can have a sword.
Yeah,
well, because the sword you can't
sword
conceal.
you can tell it's a sword. It's like, hey, that guy has a fucking sword. You know.
I guess.
Then there's certain things too. Sometimes I carry one on me. I shouldn't, but like a dagger, like a boot knife, you can't have those. Like a fixed blade knife, that's concealed on your person and readily accessible as a weapon. That's actually a felony as well.
Is that just a felony in California, or is that a nationwide thing?
Don't know.
On your person, though, you said
on your person, concealed. Yeah.
So at home.
Yeah, at home it's fine. Yeah. And if you carry it out, so like let's say you carry a fixed blade knife out in public, but you have it exposed. Yeah, it's on a sheath and everyone can see it. It's fine. Totally fine. It's when you so like I've actually like a lot of criminals actually do it. They like carry like a little tiny knife in their pocket or something, a little fixed blade dagger in their pocket. And I've taken a good amount of people on that just because like
illegal.
But if it's concealed, it's fine.
No, if it's
exposed, it's fine.
If you have it out and people can see, hey, you have a dagger on you, it's okay. But when you hide it and you can just whip it out at any time,
that's so fucking weird.
Yeah,
well, it's weird.
Yeah,
well, it makes sense because it's like a much more of a threat. Like you can, someone will come up and try to fight you or like initiate something, and at any moment they can pull this concealed knife out and kill you. Whereas if it's exposed, people can kind of take that into consideration when they.
Yeah, it's an interesting law. I don't know if it's a nationwide thing. I know for sure in California it's one, and obviously I don't like if it was just like a normal guy, like no criminal record. I probably would just don't do that.
Yeah,
because obviously I'm a law enforcement officer, but I carry a dagger.
Yeah,
for my protection sometimes. But if it's a convicted felon and he has all these other things and he knows better, yeah, I'll take him on it. So it varies from case to case. But those are like the weird the weird illegal weapons.
Yeah.
Carrying a sword or like just a hunting knife or whatever, as long as it's exposed. Yeah, it's not really.
Just gonna carry around a fucking katana on my back.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
I think I really do not think anything. You'd get called on you, and they'd be like, "Why the hell do you have a?"
Because I have a podcast and I got told
I saw Randy Jackson, and all I had on me was this martial arts weapon. I'm not gonna not get Randy Jackson's signature. That's how that happened. Somebody told him. Somebody told Will Ferrell he could carry a katana, and that's how it happened.
You have like this like fat sword on your back, and you get called on you, right? And they're like, "Why do you have that on you?" You'd be like, "Well, I mean, it's a sword. Like, it's not as. I mean, this is way scarier than these nunchucks." They're like, "Get on the ground!"
For real. I can't even a club, like carrying a club or a baton, unless like used by obviously like security. Like for your job or whatever, that's illegal too. Like technically, if you walk around with like a walking stick, per like the California Penal Code, which is stupid and nobody would just like take an old lady for this, but like old lady walking around with a walking stick, so like if somebody attacks her, she can club them. Yeah, that's a felony.
It's felony.
Yeah, and the intent. So if she's like, oh, it's a walking stick, normal, same stick, but if she's like, oh, it's for my protection, felony.
What? That's crazy.
Fun fact. Yeah.
Does anything else kind of play into that at all? Like random fucking
discretion. I mean, like officer discretion. Like I wouldn't take an old lady for like for
some
Billy
guy
Club
who's like 23 in his prime with like a walking stick.
Yeah,
no. What I mean is like, are there any other weapons that you can say that with? Weapons, but like you said, a walking stick. If it's for walking, it's fine. But if it's for her protection, you said it's not, right?
Yeah. Well, that's like a walking stick. I mean, there's nothing really else I could think of that can be disguised.
I can't either.
That.
That's why I was just like,
these brass knuckles
are my walking knuckles. It's like no,
walking knuckles.
It doesn't work like that. Sadly.
Fuck. What was I going to ask about knives? I'm going to get into another question that.
Yeah. Do you have any thing on your notes you want to?
Let's see.
Touch on.
Oh, okay. So on this kind of falls into this. The other day, actually, we had a shooting. And I ended up handling it. And basically, this guy had a legally owned firearm. And he wasn't a convicted felon. He had nothing. He was good to go. He was good to own the firearm. Firearm was registered to him. But with that firearm comes responsibility.
Correct.
Obviously, you can't be stupid with it because that'll revoke your freaking firearm rights. So this guy got in like a road rage argument with a guy.
Oh no.
And then they came off and they were like, they're threatening each other, like threatening to fight. And this guy's a martial arts guy. They're both men of the same size and they're threatening to fight each other. And then, they calm down and or one of the guys calms down and he's like, you know what? F this, I'm gonna leave. He's on a motorcycle and he starts driving away. Other guy goes in his trunk and just sends a round off at him. Yeah.
What the
my
fuck?
God.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what? It's like, why? So we've got very little information about it. We actually, CHP got the call and then CHP, I know, like why? it happened off the freeway, but only CHP got the call. They didn't tell us at all. So anyways, CHP ends up finding the vehicle and they put out over our like radio, hey, CHP is requesting backup. They're detaining a person with a gun at so and so, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to that. That sounds like dangerous." So I throw on my lights and sirens, respond to it, and then sure enough, they have this guy at gunpoint. So I get my rifle out, I go at gunpoint too, and put on the radio, "Hey, detaining someone with a gun." It was actually in the CHP office parking lot, and ironically enough, so. The whole world comes. We detain this guy. And,
the whole world comes?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens where I work, which is cool. We detain him, search the car, find the gun, and find live ammunition and all this stuff. And, I'm getting the story from him. I Mirandized him. And did we talk about Miranda rights? last time.
I was going to say, that's a cool way of saying it. Mirandaized him.
Did we talk? Do you know if we talked about it?
I can't remember if we did.
Remind me to go into Miranda rights after this, because that's a common misconception with the movies and stuff. Yeah. So I Mirandized him, and I started asking about like what happened, and he's telling me, oh yeah, we pulled off the freeway. He was threatening to fight me. Whatever. I accidentally cut him off or whatever, and we were all yelling at each other, and that was it. And I was like, "Did you fire a gun at him?" And he was like, I choose to remain silent on that question. I was like, all right, that pretty much tells me. I was like, that pretty much tells me what I need to know.
Fucking idiot, dude.
It was so funny. Just like the way he said that, I was like, he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna need a lawyer. I was like, probably, man.
Cooperates, stops cooperating.
Yeah, exactly. No, and we went back. It was actually a really good case. We had a lot of evidence against it. Obviously that statement alone, I was like, oh shit, this guy actually shot him. literally off of him choosing to remain silent at that time. I was like, cool.
Did he ever say if it was like to aim at the guy or just put a bullet in his car?
No, he didn't say so. So the guy didn't get hit. So, but still, it's a good assault with a deadly weapon.
Fucking wild, dude.
Yeah, we went back. We recovered a shell casing, a fired shell casing from the scene, and a witness. So it's.
And what about the guy that got shot at?
He didn't get hit or anything.
No,
so
I know, but
we got him too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He obviously is a victim. Like he's
that's what I'm saying.
They're fighting
like
or whatever, but he's still a victim
Yeah.
of it.
It's fucking
doesn't
wild,
justify
dude.
getting shot at. So
So with that situation, let's say instead of shooting at him, he just took his gun out and he shot it in the air. Would that change this the context of it?
Sorry,
it would.
Just find it so fucking funny.
That would be just to scare the living shit out of him. Like, hey, I have a gun, and I'm not fucking scared. Like, if he did that, is it still considered assault with a deadly weapon?
No, off the top of my head, I wouldn't charge assault. I would go with like negligent not even negligent discharge of a firearm. It'd be like intentional discharge of a firearm, like in a public area or something like that.
And that's like a much lesser crime.
It
than
is
assault.
a lesser crime, but it's still bad. It's still for sure super bad. But when you're shooting intentionally at someone, pointing a loaded gun at someone, that's still a good assault. Like shooting at a habited dwelling, those are all like legit. Those are huge. Legit crimes. Yeah, those are all
bullshit fucking thing that happened in a show. Obviously bullshit. But this guy in his yard firing at something. It doesn't fucking matter. But he ended up firing a bullet in the air, and the bullet fucking travels X amount of distance and hits somebody else in their backyard, kills them.
Yeah,
right. Somebody that fires a bullet in the air. I've never read into it. Again, show's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
What happens to that? Like, have you ever read into like what happens to bullets like that? And if
like the actual trajectory and
that's happened before. I believe
it's happened and people have died from it. So especially that's why it's so important to have a good backdrop, because like if I just took a rifle round right now and just fired it over this house in that direction, it could totally kill somebody. Yeah, totally.
Okay,
it'll totally do that.
When I say bullshit in a show, it was the way it was reenacted. I was just like, it was fucking the perfect timing and place.
Yeah, perfect timing. Is it highly unlikely that it would hit someone? Yes, but
it's happened.
If the stars align and God wants you to die, and you're just on a stroll, and you're on a stroll with your dog, and that round and the timing lines up, it'll kill you. Especially a rifle.
If somebody does fire a shot in the air, right?
Yes,
non-intentional, and nothing happens. Then what?
Still illegal. It's still illegal. Like what he was talking about, if you just send around into the air, especially to scare someone, or if we've had it before. I've had cases where people will drive through a neighborhood and there's bop, 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 and they'll shoot up in the air. Yeah. That it's a crime. If no one gets hurt from it, then it's lesser of a crime.
If the bullet comes down and hits someone, is that manslaughter?
I don't know what that would be. That
because manslaughter is without intent.
Without intent. That's probably what it would be. I've never had that case before, so I don't really know. Dude.
But imagine you think you're cool at a party and you shoot a round off in the air only to get charged with manslaughter the next day because you killed somebody.
Rightfully so. That's a super important thing, is to not fire your fucking gun up in the air. And, anything. You always want to be accountable for your bullets. Me standing around up in the air and not being accountable for that bullet. I don't know where that's going to go.
Right.
I don't know if I shoot it that way, especially the further of an angle that you get, that's just the longer it's going to go, and
Yeah,
the
of
more
course.
trajectory it's going to have, and the more velocity it's going to have.
Right.
So it can definitely seriously hurt someone.
So
that's why
it's just
dangerous.
what's the crime for shooting it in the air?
For
Like,
just shooting in the air, it's like negligent discharge of a firearm
Okay.
or intentional discharge of a firearm in a public
And is it
area
just
or
a
something.
fine
I've done it before.
Uh-huh.
It's a misdemeanor. You
Okay.
you can charge a jail time with it.
yeah.
But I've had that happen once, but I don't think we got the guys, but I recovered a bunch of shell casings and stuff.
It's fucking
So,
wild, dude.
Yeah, I remember hearing like, because like the old Western movies, it would show like I think the terms like the banditos, like the people that would come to like Mexican pueblos, and they'd like raid the area, and then at the end of it, they'd like all like they're all on horseback, and they're all like going in a circle, and they're just like
Shooting
firing in
your
the
gun up
air and
there.
everything.
Yeah, it's
apparently there are stories of guys who would do that, and then like it would come down and kill one of the guys because like
fucking
they'd
nuts,
still be
dude.
in the town
Yeah.
by the time it came down, and it would kill someone because
buy
like
that. Well, you see that on the
Suicide somehow.
It happens all the
Right.
time. You see it in like third world countries all the time too,
Yeah.
where like, someone would take their gun out a window and just fire it up in the air. Like, it happened in the Middle East. I see it all the time. Somebody just grabs an AK-47 when
at like
when
parties.
their cricket team wins or whatever, and there's like blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Literally, like I'm saying it jokingly, but that's literally what happens. Like their cricket team wins, and they're just and they just send an
Yeah.
AK mag up in the air and full auto, and it's just ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
It's stupid.
There's videos that almost looks like Saudi Arabian parties.
Yes.
Where like they're
They
like
just do
super
it.
rich families,
Yeah.
and they just bring out an M16.
Yeah.
And they're just like bah, 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 bah,
sending
bah,
rounds
in
up in the air. It's just ridiculous.
Have you seen that video? It was like, again, third world country, and it was like that little kid, like he looked like probably like 6 years old, and he has a pistol in his hand, and he's just
Oh my
like
God. No, it's
firing rounds into
terrifying.
the air. I've seen, there was a video of a kid who grabbed his dad's gun on the table, again like Middle Eastern party,
Yeah.
and just was like shooting it, and then shot his dad in the stomach and killed him.
Yeah, that's why we don't let that happen.
Yeah, so it's a wild west out there, man.
Yeah, it's
Miranda rights.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You were like, kill the dad. I'm like, I just got to get back to this point.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so let's go. Oh, and we'll talk about 5150 holds too, because I feel like that's another thing that's
I'm unfamiliar with the term.
Yeah, no idea.
5150 holds?
5150. You've never heard like 5150?
No.
Talking about like somebody crazy.
oh,
you're
yeah,
5150?
yeah.
Okay, well, just remind me to talk about that too, because I feel like those are two things I've kind of like gone over on my
Only
on my
reason
Twitter.
I heard about it was high school and people talking shit about other people, and I was like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 5150 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people just
Referring to crazy people. That's literally
Yeah,
it.
just
Calling
crazy
someone
people.
like out of their fucking minds. They're 5150.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's because of an actual police
Yeah.
thing, and we'll go into that in a sec. So Miranda rights are needed when you have someone in custody and you are interrogating them about a crime in specifically that basically you're accusing them of doing. Okay, so it's a common misconception among the police world among citizens, the public, because I've arrested people and they're like, you didn't read me my Miranda rights, you can't arrest me, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. I saw you shoot somebody. I don't need to Mirandize you. Like literally, I saw.
I went to Twitter law.
Yeah. I pulled a gun out of your pocket. I don't need to Mirandize.
Yeah.
I mean, I can if I want to, but a lot of times they're just going to say no. So, it's kind of
They're
my
looking
discretion.
for any fucking hole.
Yeah, they're trying to find holes on it. So, basically the rule is if somebody's in cuffs in your back seat of the patrol car or something, whatever, then that's when you need to Mirandize them, basically.
Yeah.
If you're interrogating them about the
But
crime
only
in
if you're
specific.
interrogating them.
Only if you're interrogating them. Yeah. If you don't, if you're just like,
If you watch
if you're
it
trying
happen.
to figure out, if you witness something, if you personally like I said, you pull a big old rock of meth out of somebody's pocket, like you can try and further your case, like you're trying to charge them with drug sales or whatever. And if you're trying to further confirm that case, if they're in handcuffs in your back seat and you're just like, hey, why do you have this meth? And they're like, oh, I'm selling it to a bunch of people. And you're like, cool. That's not admissible in court because it's not, because you're interrogating them about the crime.
And you haven't done the right.
And you haven't read their Miranda rights. So you Mirandize them, and then you ask them and they say, yeah, I'm selling it, or yeah, it's personal use, whatever. Then that's good to go in court. So that's when it's important. So if you walk up on a vehicle and you're like, hey, is there anything illegal in this vehicle? And they tell you, That's not Miranda. You don't need to Mirandize them
because
know?
you didn't arrest them.
Yeah, because you're not asking, you're not interrogating them. You're just asking, hey, is there anything in this vehicle? Whatever. And especially if they're out of custody, you can interrogate them about whatever. If they're just chilling and they aren't in handcuffs, they're just talking. We're just talking. They're like, hey, dude, did you kill that person? They're like, yeah, I did kill that person. Good to go. Yeah, because they aren't in custody. So
those are the two
two roles that the two things you need is custody and interrogation.
Yeah,
that's what's required for Miranda rights.
And you can interrogate them even if they're not in custody, and it's okay.
Yes,
and you can put them in custody, and even if you're not going to interrogate them, and it's okay,
and it's totally fine, and you don't need to use Miranda rights. So that's something, like I said, literally, like the other day, I arrested somebody, and they were like, when was I read my Miranda rights? And I was like, never, because I didn't interrogate you, and I don't need to, because I witnessed you doing stupid shit. So,
yeah.
So we're good. Or especially like people with warrants and stuff, because I don't need warrants are great because it's a charge that was like the DA filed a charge on them, and the detective wants, like, basically somebody else said, take this person to jail. And that's it. There's no paper. There's no reports. I don't have to like explain anything. All I got to say is, hey, this person has a warrant. Here you go.
Yeah.
I don't have to interrogate them. I don't have to know anything about the case. It can say, all it'll say is like robbery, felony warrant, $100,000 or whatever. I'm like, cool, jail. I don't need to know.
Go to jail. Do not pass go. Yeah. Do not collect $200.
I'll like ask him about it because like I just like knowing about it, but I don't need to know anything because I try to be like a good Uber driver too, and like when I'm taking people to jail, like I'm super cool. Like I'll talk to them about funny stuff, like I'll play music, and I'm a
hey man,
I'm
you
a
like Travis
guy.
Scott?
Yeah, literally. Hell yeah, brother. So I try to be good with that.
The other thing you want to talk about is 5150s.
Yeah. So 5150 holds. That's another thing. So people just think, oh, someone's crazy, so put them on a 5150 hold. So
what is a 5150?
A 5150 hold is a 72-hour mental evaluation hold that law enforcement officers and I think doctors can too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But for sure, law enforcement officers, we have the authority to do that if we deem someone is a danger to themselves, a danger to other people, or gravely disabled. Okay, those are the three criteria. One, and it has to meet one of them. It doesn't have to meet all of them, and that is crucial. Okay, because we're talking about taking away someone's freedom and placing them on a hold, an involuntary hold. They could be screaming and saying, "I don't want to go," and we packed them up in a straitjacket and ship them to the hospital. Not really, but like we handcuff them, put them in the back of our patrol car, and take them to the hospital against their will. Okay, so it's a big thing. So people call on their neighbor. Oh, well, she's crazy. She needs to be put on a 5150 hold. I'm like, what'd she do? Yeah, she just runs around and yells at me and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, no, that doesn't meet any of the criteria. Okay, so people that do meet the criteria, people that have attempt suicide, are currently attempting suicide or thought about attempting suicide, trying to harm themselves.
Writing notes on their garage in blood.
Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah, cutting their wrists, anything like that. That's a good hold. Danger to other people. I just want to run around and shoot people. Whatever. They're like having a bipolar episode and they want to go harm people. They want to strangle someone.
You find they've made like detailed plans about like
doing something, that type of thing. Anything like that. Obviously if there's a crime that's been occurred, we'll just take them on the crime.
I was about to say, like, when do you tell the difference when it comes to a danger to someone else, whether or not to do a 5150 hold or a crime?
Or arrest them. It's hit or miss. It's kind of case by case is different. Obviously if like somebody stabs somebody, okay, obviously he's a danger to other people, but I'm not going to 5150 him. I'm going to take him into custody.
Yeah.
It's more so if somebody's having like a psychological episode, and they've made statements about it, but haven't acted on it or haven't done anything in specifically to carry it out. And then gravely disabled is people like an 80-year-old woman that you find on the street, hasn't eaten in 3 days, doesn't really know where she's at, and is probably going to die if you leave her there. That's the type of thing. So those are the criteria that has to be met. We get these calls all the time, and we're called to solve these problems. We have to make that call on whether or not we want to do a 5150 hold. And a lot of times the fire department rolls with us too, and sometimes if they're willing to just go with the fire department. That's the best way to do it, just because it's easy. The fire department just drops them off, and then they're like a self-admittal to the hospital.
Yeah.
Really, when our power comes in is when they don't want to go to the hospital. They try to hang themselves or whatever, and they're like, no, I'm not going to the hospital. It's like, all right, cool. You're going to 5150 hold. You're going.
Yeah.
And then we have within our rights to use any, a reasonable amount of force to
detain them.
It's not even detain them, but to take them into our possession pretty much safely and take them to the hospital.
Yeah.
To keep them from harming themselves. It's because we have their best interests out. So
when it deals with suicide, after like, have you seen like where people are at the end of a 5150 hold when it comes to like self-harm? Do you see it like do a lot of good, or do you see it like it doesn't really do much for them? It just kind of saves them in the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing as taking people to jail. I pretty much just drop them off to the hospital and just
then go about your shift.
And then there's 20 other calls I got to go and handle, and it's the rest of my shift. So I wish I had like some good heartwarming story about like, oh, this person like was really
they cleaned up their lives.
I just want to know.
I haven't seen that. I'm sure that happens, but all that magic happens at the hospital.
Yeah, I just was wondering, like, word of mouth, if you knew that it was effective.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it must be effective, because
they still do it.
They still do it. Yeah, and especially the hospital that I take people to for the most part, they have really good psychological people there that genuinely help.
That's good,
because we have the area that I work has a very large mental health problem, and a lot of it's meth and drugs, but and a lot of them is mental health, and a lot of it is both tied together. But
I think what's really dope about the episodes that we've had with you, and especially like this whole past talk, was the fact that a lot of what you talk about it shows that the human nature of your job, of like, we don't always know exactly what to do in those moments. Like, one of the things that Caleb and I always talk about is like, if you don't know something, answering like, I don't know is typically the best way to do it, because then you can like learn from that.
Of course.
And it's like the 5150 versus actually like arresting them and all those different things. It's super informational for the people listening, for just us in general, you telling us these different things. Like, it gives us a different perspective. It gives everybody a different perspective on your job as a whole. Yeah,
it's really hard, and that's a great point. And I agree with that, because there's still so many things that I don't know. Like you're asking me questions, and I'm like, I don't really know what I would do with that. Like, there's calls that I come with to this day, and there still be some 2 years down the road and so on, that I'm like, hey, I don't know. I genuinely don't know how to handle this. An example of that was somebody actually dropped a legally owned everything, like literally crystal clean. This guy's not a felon, stand-up citizen, whatever. I mean, as much as you can get in that area, but it's,
weird internet search history, but
it was clean. It was clean. And he dropped a firearm, and as he was dropping it, he went to go and pick it up. Or like mid drop, he like tried to catch it, and it squeezed a round off into his wife. Yeah. Yeah. So we responded to that, and it came out as like a assault with a deadly weapon gunshot victim. And we were like, crazy, so we roll in, like I have like the shotgun out, and I'm just like, everyone get on the ground, and then they're like, whoa, it was an accident.
Like, where did it hit her?
Huh?
Where did
it hit her? Leg. She hit her in the leg.
I thought it like killed her.
Oh no, it didn't kill her. No, thank God. That would have been a lot worse.
Like, what in that moment, obviously, in all her pain, was she just like, it was a fucking accident? Like,
yeah, no,
shit.
Yeah, she was like, no, he didn't mean to do it. Everyone else was like, no, he dropped the gun mid drop. Like, all the statements lined up.
You're saying everyone else? How many fucking people were there?
It was like a family. It was a Hispanic family. They were like having dinner. There was like 9 of them. Yeah,
God.
So we had like 9 statements saying this guy's good.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like. He didn't intentionally shoot her, like,
that
where it's
one
fake.
nervous kid.
No, it was all legit. It was all legit.
He didn't really, but if he did, that dumb bitch deserved it.
Okay, put your hands behind your back.
Hold on, Dad, you were kind of an asshole yesterday.
That's so crazy, though.
Yeah, no, it was wild. I've never had that before.
Yeah.
At all. And nobody else did. I called.
You were going in fucking shotgun
I
loaded.
went in like at a 10, dude, and I was like yelling at people, and they're like, whoa, it's
Bring
an
it back
accident.
down.
Yeah, and I never had that. So then
Hey, buddy,
it was
what's
me.
the problem?
It was me and one of my best friends. We were working a car together, and then there was another unit right behind us that was a 2-man car because we were out in kind of like the middle of nowhere. I like looked at all of them because it was our handle. We were handling the call, and I was like, what do we do? Like, you know, what is this a report? Is it like what do we do? Do we take him? Do we take the gun? I was like, I don't think he did anything wrong. It was just stupid. You know, it's just
just a
stupid.
mess up.
It's
But
a
it's not
freak
even
accident.
because we looked in like negligent discharge of the firearm, and it's not that, because negligent discharge of a firearm is like, hey bro, check this out, and they squeeze the trigger thinking it's unloaded, and it sends a round off or something. You have to like intentionally do something stupid.
Yeah.
Whereas this was like a straight accident. Freak
This
accident.
is where
And
guns kill people. People
yeah,
don't kill people.
it really was. It was totally a gun fault. Anyways, I was like, I'm at a loss, so I called sergeants, and I called training officers, like people that train trainees, and no one else really knew what was up until finally I actually talked to one of our like lieutenants, and our lieutenants were like, oh yeah, you know, it's this, and he showed me the policy for it and everything, and, and helped me out. So, but it just goes to show you, like, you know, I talked to maybe 10 people that didn't know, and these are experienced cops, and they like didn't know. So there's stuff that stumps me every day, and maybe it's even a call that I've handled a lot of times, but like there's something different about it, and it's like I don't know if that makes the crime elements. I don't know if whatever, and it's tricky.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, not every call is like a good burglary where it's like, oh, everything's there, you know, there's fingerprint there, and this person's good for burglary.
But just remember, dude, you're supposed to know everything all the time.
Yes, everything all the time.
Yeah.
We should always be trained
How
more.
fucking dare you for not knowing?
Yeah, I should be able to shoot
more.
people's bright pinky
You should
toe
turn
off.
yourself in.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can't imagine the like how much that wife can hold that over her husband's head.
Oh,
for like the rest of
for the rest
eternity.
of their life, dude.
Yeah.
Just like
One time you fucking shot me, babe.
seriously?
Yeah.
I'm a bad spouse.
Yeah.
Huh? You shot me.
Oh, you want me to go and pick the kids up from school? Yeah, I don't think so. I think
well,
you should
why
go.
don't you
this
just
time.
put another round in my leg, honey?
Oh my god, man! I was like, she took it like a champ too.
Really?
She was like, this hurts a lot. And I was like, yeah, you got a fucking bullet in you. I was like, it's just in your leg, man. It was crazy.
She
It was
accidentally
wild.
like breaks a glass or something. He's
Yeah.
like, and then she just stares, like, just points at her leg the whole time.
yeah, that's a free pass to do whatever the fuck you want. In that
Oh,
marriage.
yeah.
Seriously.
For like, for like 30 years at least.
30 years.
That was ridiculous, man. That was so
Oh,
funny.
shit.
I've like legit never handled anything like that before.
Yeah.
So still every day, that's what's so cool
New
about
shit.
this job is you see something new every day. You know, it's not all routine stuff. It's not always the same report call. You're always dealing with some crazy person that's yelling at you, and
Yeah.
you know, whatever, some old lady that's calling because somebody said mean stuff about them on the internet, and you know,
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
So we're good? Because you got to get out of here.
Maybe
soon.
like 2:10, maybe in like another.
Yeah, I'm cool with
7
whatever.
minutes,
We
then
can
I'll
either
wrap
wrap
up.
or we
Yeah.
can.
Do you touch everything on your notes? You got anything?
Let's see. The other, or this,
He's like
this is a
shooting,
cool-
shooting, stabbing,
Yeah,
shooting.
yeah, literally, that's kind of like what it is. A while ago, man, this will be like my last story, and then any other questions that you guys have, you can go over that, and then
Cool.
we'll go from there. We had a gang shooting in my town a little while ago, and I was like right down the street, like eating a breakfast burrito or something, and the call came out, and I was like, shit. Whatever comes out, the call for us is 245 GSV. So 245 is the code for assault with a deadly weapon, and then just V stands for gunshot victim. So whenever like,
Oh shit!
like nothing like peaks you up, you know, harder than hearing the, you know, attention units, you know, code 3 response needed for a 245 GSV. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go. Party
Fucking
time.
spit out your food and
Yeah,
run.
yeah, literally, I was like, fuck. Just fucking toss my breakfast burrito into the passenger seat. I'm like, so I was like right down the street from it. So I went on scene first. And sure enough, there was like a guy, and he had three gunshot wounds to his. It was like 2 to his torso and 1 to his leg. And he was a 18th Street gang member, and then which is a Hispanic gang. It's a Hispanic gang from LA. And then there was a female there too, and she got hit, but she was like, she wasn't dead, but she was unresponsive. Like, she couldn't talk. She was just in so much pain, or had pretty much taken out.
Where'd she get hit?
Like, I think in the back or something.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
she got hit in the upper body area.
Or like leg, fine. Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a third guy that got shot and ran off to like a gas station or something where he called. So we had like this big ass crime scene. So I went up, and like I said, first thing we always try to do, because I got there before the ambulance, because keep in mind, like, we're rolling around. The ambulance and the fire truck are like having a barbecue at their station. So they gotta wake up, and then they gotta come over. So we're out and about all the time. So generally we beat them to things like this. So sure enough, I pull up, like with I'm an EMT, but like I don't. There's not a whole lot you can do with a gunshot. You know, obviously if he had like arterial bleed or whatever, I would have tried to stop that.
Pressure.
Yeah, I pretty much told him, I was like, hey, just put pressure on your stuff and talk to me, because I need to get important information out about suspect, because we want to catch this guy. This guy's dangerous. He just shot people. We want to get him. So he told me, you know, it's this guy. He's from 18th Street. He has tattoos on his face. He's wearing all black. That's pretty much all I got. And then the other girl was shot. She couldn't give me anything. So I put out that information instantly. I was like, hey, you know, we got a good gunshot victim. This is what he said the guy looks like. He left on foot. So he's going to be in the area still, most likely, unless he hopped in a vehicle. So pretty much we locked down the scene. They rolled into the hospital. We actually recovered a bullet out of the girl. They like pulled it out before they rolled her to the hospital. So I pretty much crime scene taped the whole fucking block, and because there was just stuff everywhere. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna deal with it. Like, I'm just like, I'm not gonna. I was like,
shrink wrap it up for nice and neat for the guys to come.
I'm like, nah, I'm crime scene taped the whole block and shutting down traffic.
Right.
So I locked it down, and then somebody, like, just a random person, I don't know if they heard our radio traffic or heard that they were looking for someone, but they were at a park over in a similar area and just called in like a suspicious person call. And our dispatch was like, hey guys, just so you know, like, somebody's calling in a suspicious person over at the park. And it kind of fits the description of that shooting suspect. So we're like, okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Super
so
fucking
we get a
random.
couple people to roll over there that weren't locking down the scene, and we were searching for him, and there's like a underground homeless tunnel system, so I think he used that to go over to the park or whatever. But basically, we ended up pulling up, and they saw him. He fit the description, so they detained him at gunpoint, take him into custody. Ends up being the guy.
What the fuck, dude?
Ended up being the guy.
How fucking
man.
random.
Full under Miranda, full confession, full everything. He even he ditched the gun. So we actually got a gun dog, like a gun sniffing dog, to go up, and he took our deputies and the dog out into the desert to like look for this
the criminal
gun.
dude?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. Super cooperative. Yeah.
That doesn't make
Why do
any
you
sense.
think why do you think people like shift and become that cooperative?
I think they just know. They're like, shit, you got me. Yeah.
Well, fuck.
Yeah,
Here we are.
Might as well cooperate.
Does that help them at all?
Yeah, I can. They can. There's certain things, like if you cooperate with us or the DA,
Like a shortened sentence,
or maybe not the fucking death penalty, or whatever. It depends on what you're facing. But yeah, like some people take deals and give a confession in lieu of being tried for the death penalty. So maybe just life in prison or whatever. It varies. Like I said,
That's so wild.
But yeah, so it's pretty freaking cool because like this person like calling in a suspicious person call. That guy's probably going to get put away for, I hope, for life.
Yeah.
I hope, because he's actually wanted for it. He was wanted for an attempt murder out of another city from like a day or two prior to that.
Oh shit. So he was just going at it.
So he was just going at it. Yeah. So
Fuck.
he like rolled up to a house with like bunch of guys with AK-47s and just like dumped out the house.
Whoa.
And stole a bunch of their heroin.
Holy.
Yeah, like stole a fat amount of their heroin. Yeah.
For somebody that does something like that to just be like, yeah, well, I shot these people.
Yeah.
Like,
It was weird.
Did that
really
make
fucking
any
odd.
news headlines or what?
It might have. That was in a different area, different
Yeah.
county. I'm sure it did make news headlines.
You think
but-
stuff like that would kind of like
Yeah, no,
kick up.
that was legit. And that was like a couple days prior to him doing that with
no shit.
with us. But it was super. I was like, this is wild. Like we got him. Like,
Yeah.
usually you get those and they speed off and you know it's like a long investigation. But this like with hard work from us, the stations surrounding us, the gun dog coming out, and I don't think we didn't have a helicopter overhead, but just like everyone came together to do that, and we got him in custody, and it was awesome. And none of the people died.
that's great.
That's good to hear.
So you know, it was good. It was just it was a good call, good work across the station, and
Everyone
took the bad guy to jail.
cooperated correctly, and everyone was fine. That's so fucking.
It would
odd.
have gone really bad for him if he didn't cooperate.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
That's you don't mess around with shootings and stuff like that. That's not somebody you're trying to give a speeding ticket. You know.
Yeah.
When you get busts like that, do you feel like I guess there's like probably in my head two different ways you can view like your overall efforts with your job. Do you feel like it's kind of like this like tunnel with no light at the end of it? You're just like constantly putting criminals away and it's not getting any better? Or do you feel like each time you put a criminal away, like that area is getting like safer and safer and better and better?
You know, that's a really good question. The area where I work, it's kind of hit or miss. There's a lot of really bad areas, you know, and we put these people away, and then California releases them, you know, and they're just on to doing other shenanigans and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there's a lot of areas that we patrol and you know,
Like, do you see them improving over the time that you're there?
yeah, I mean, let me just give you an example on this. So Compton. Compton is covered by the LA County Sheriff's Department. They used to be Compton Police Department, but then LA County, or they ended up contracting out to LA County. Okay. LA County is a lot bigger department, a lot better trained. They have more resources, etc. Crime in Compton has dropped down a ton.
Really?
Because of that.
I've
Because
heard
it's
of
a
that. lot
lot more resources, a lot better department that's out there. And, you know, they're taking bad guys to jail. They're still doing, you know, they're cleaning it up. And they have cleaned it up a lot. It's still not a good area, but it has improved a lot from what it was back in like, you know, whatever, the 90s and
when was that
type of
shift?
thing. I think it was 90s or like early 2000s, something like that.
Yeah, I
So-
remember hearing
so-
like people say like Compton isn't as bad as it used to be. And stuff like that.
I think over time, yes. I think with my station, we're getting a lot of good people in that are like that really want to work. I feel like they're kind of we're putting more cars out onto the line, out on patrol that are going around. So we have a lot. We're getting faster response times. We're getting more calls handled. You know, we're getting a lot of people that really know what they're doing and that are really hard workers, that are proactive, because that's a huge thing too. It's not just stopping crimes after they happen. It's being proactive with it. You know, it's going and getting guns off these criminals. It's going and getting drugs. It's going and getting those type of things, because those are stopping the robbery that's about to happen.
Yeah.
That's stopping the robbery that's about to happen. That's stopping the shooting that's about to happen. You know, and you never see that. You're just, oh, I just got a guy with a gun. But you don't know what they were going to go and do with that gun.
You don't know what.
If somebody
you
would have
just
stopped that guy that shot 3 people with a gun, we would have never heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay. But it would have prevented that from happening. Those people would still be fine without holes in them. You
Yeah.
know? So, yes, I do feel like I am cleaning it up. I kind of feel like there's a lot of material there to clean up. It's
There's a lot of
rough
cleaning
area
left to do.
and there's a lot of cleaning up to do.
Mhm.
But I think it's on its way, and I think I'm really proud to be a part of that and to go and be proactive and also clean up with our calls and whatnot.
So like essentially, like you feel like you're cleaning up at a better pace than it's getting dirty.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, we aren't helped by a lot of California's policies. You know, transients are a huge problem. Transients and drug use is a huge problem out where we're at, which has pretty much been legalized by the state. So I feel like it would be nice to have a little bit of help on that end.
Yeah.
You know, to like actually and you know, California's policies on just letting criminals go, like non-violent criminals. in quotations there, because you guys can't hear that on the over the
Yeah.
mic, but there's quotations there. These nonviolent criminals are violent people. You know, somebody that's out stealing from a store one day is going to be out mugging somebody the next day. You know, so it's hard because of those reasons, but for the most part, I feel like we're out doing good and trying to keep the majority of bad people in jail. So
it's good.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'm good.
Spot to end it.
Yeah,
cool.
'cause
Sounds good.
it's right about that time too.
Yeah, I know. I gotta take
Yeah,
off.
you gotta get out of here
with some friends. But this has been great.
Thank you very much for being on again,
Oh,
dude.
no problem.
Yeah,
It's my
dude.
pleasure. It's
Fucking
my pleasure.
blast.
I'm sorry. I plan on keeping the day entirely free, so we could
No,
shoot
no.
this shit for
Honestly,
forever,
dude,
but-
we went
You provide
two
killer.
2.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
So
provide
take
killer
it.
episodes every time.
Always.
Perfect.
And I really do think it's very informational for people listening
Yeah,
too.
man.
Like
Awesome.
not just because of the responses we got from people saying like you got to have them on again, but just the fact that like there is a lot of stuff that you can learn just from the stories alone that you're sharing.
Yeah.
Not even just the rules and the laws and all the stuff that we go over, but it's like, oh, this is how a situation can be handled if it arises.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And above all, like it's just a fun job. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
I love going out. I love cleaning up the streets. I love doing that. But at the end of the day, you know, I love what I do, and I love throwing on that badge and going to party each day. You know, and
Yeah, man.
going to catch bad guys. It's,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's like it's a dangerous game, but it is kind of like a game to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
You know, and I got to go and play it every day and get paid for it. You know, so it takes
Good for you. I'm glad
takes a
you
special
like
type
what
of person to do it, but I love it. It's the best job in the world.
I'm glad you like what you do.
Yeah, it makes me happy knowing you're one of the people that's behind the badge like that.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Makes us all feel safer, like genuinely. No
Good.
bullshit.
I appreciate that, you guys.
Cool.
So,
All right.
sweet deal. Thank you so much for having me
Episode
again.
49.
Yeah, 49.
Wow.
Yeah,
Big time.
Big,
Hell yeah.
big shit.
Hell yeah.
You're like, hey, big time. We're like, you're Cobb. You do so much more.
No, this is legit, man. I appreciate you guys having me
that.
on for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. We're signing off. I'm not going to say the normal thing that I always say. Yeah, I am. Go fuck yourself. All right. All right. Bye, guys.
Later.